Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here. It's Wow Wednesday, and I'm wowing because we see an old familiar face on the new OVO Hometown Heroes Collection for 2024, released on IG yesterday. Drake's company, OVO, does fall fashion lines every year. And, this year they brought in Morris Peterson, the Iron Man of Raptors history, one of the great Raptors, one of the ones we love, one of the ones we celebrate. I'd retire 24 for Morris Peterson before I'd retire 15 for Vince Carter. But yeah, it's amazing to see Morris with his long hair in the picture with the OVO styles on. And yeah, it's very cool. In the past, we've seen Damon Stoudemire model for OVO collection around this time of the year. And well, this year is Morris. And I think that if somebody's going to represent a hometown hero, Morris Peterson's one of those guys. Whereas his hometown, Flint, Michigan, and how he reps Flint with Michigan State, and also all of his time and philanthropy around his community back in Michigan, Flint, how he repped the Raptors the whole entire time that he was playing on our team, most of his career. And he's just a real one, an underrated one. We know we've had a couple of Raptors on our team over the 30 years that have been very important. Maybe not the superstar, maybe not the marquee guy, maybe not the head or face of the franchise, but very essential kind of secondary or a third kind of player on the team. And Morris was that guy. He was very much that guy alongside Vince Carter for a lot of the time that Vince played with us. We of course, Morris had that amazing half-court shot. He's got his Iron Man streak of not missing games for a long, long time. He's involved in all kinds of Raptors history, whether it has to do with three-point shooting or just really amazing games that happen in Raptors history. So we love you, Morris. And I love that, Mo, that you posted that in our chat last night, and I got to see Morris Peterson wearing the OVO, and that it's so cool. Y'all check it out if you want. Here, I'll put the link in the chat so you can see, and we could even go look at the styles of the OVO stuff that's coming out right now because it looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. There's the link to the Instagram post. You see Morris sitting in a hoodie, wearing a Toronto hoodie, and it's really kind of got the basic Toronto across the top and the Raptors' newer logo, and he's sitting next to a chessboard. It's very, very interesting. Hometown Heroes Collection, 9/27/24. So it's coming out in 2 days. And it says featuring Morris Peterson, former Toronto Raptors shooting guard and small forward, a versatile player celebrated for his scoring ability, defensive grit, and talent for sinking three-pointers. His legacy in Toronto endures, highlighted by his contributions to the team's early success in the NBA. Yeah. And Morris's hair is long right now. Man, he's got some nice dreads on his head right now. Nice gold watch on also. Yeah, this stuff, the style, looking at the second picture, it looks like it's very red and white. A lot of red on this style. It looks like there's a hockey jersey with the Raptors logo on it. If you like hockey style jerseys, that looks like a pretty cool jersey. Honestly, it's mostly red with a black bottom and a white stripe, and the modern logo of the Raptors on it. There's a gray hoodie, just like the one that Morris is wearing. And there's some T-shirts there in the pictures also. Yeah, we love Morris. And so awesome to see Mo Pete on the OVO collection this fall. Man, yeah, lots of stuff to talk about here on the Raptor Freak stream today. So let's get to it, y'all. Let's see who's in first. Trevor J is in first. Let's see what he's saying. Good morning, family. Anyone can love you when the sun is shining, but it's during the storms you find out who really cares about you. Yeah, this is true. Tough times will show the real ones. And unfortunately, even the ones that you think were real ones, sometimes those tough times will give you the truth. And that sucks. That always sucks, especially because you're in a bad place. And now all of a sudden, the person you thought you could count on is not there for you. It sucks, Trevor. No, I know what you mean. Trevor's also saying WNBA best of 5 games playoff. Liberty win against Atlanta, and Las Vegas beats Seattle, eliminating. It's a best of 3 playoffs in the WNBA. They only do 3-game series. So it's first team to 2 advances to the next round. And the Aces and the New York Liberty have taken care of business last night in their playoff games in the WNBA, and they will be advancing to the semifinals, and they will be playing each other. And they were the big finals matchup last year. The Liberty and the Aces have some history, and in some ways, this is going to be a very exciting series coming up versus New York and Las Vegas. Yeah. Tonight, two more games on the other side of the bracket. It's going to be the Minnesota Lynx trying to eliminate the Phoenix Mercury. That game will be at 9:30 tonight on ESPN. And, well, if the Lynx win, they go to the next round. Mercury have to win to stay alive. And the other bracket, it is the Connecticut Sun up 1 over Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever. And that game is tonight also, 7:30 p.m. start. So they're right in a row tonight. So WNBA playoff action continues tonight. Let's see if the Fever can even things up and stay alive also. Sun trying to close them out. So, yeah, the playoffs in the WNBA are exciting, and they're going very, very well. Very, very well. Good to see Gabby Williams out there playing for the Seattle Storm, even though they got eliminated last night. She played a fantastic game last night in losing still. Yeah, good stuff, Trevor. Let's see. Trevor's saying he's heading to New York today to get away from the storm named Helene. Wow. I've been paying attention to this hurricane a bit because in some ways my folks are about to drive back to Atlanta, and we want to try and make sure they avoid some crazy storms coming up the side of Florida into the States. This stuff is always around this time. I grew up in Florida as a kid. I was used to hurricane season, and I understand it very, very well from going through quite a few hurricanes, sitting in the house while the house rattles and all crazy and all this rain comes down and there's twisters flying around outside and stuff like that. Yeah, it can be very daunting. But Lex has some experience with that. But Trevor's going to escape. Trevor's doing that Ric Flair high flying, jet styling, profiling, jet flying lifestyle, that jet, and go to New York to get away from the storm. And I'm glad you have that resource, Trevor. I want you to be safe. Thank you, Commissioner Fun, for commissioning the fun on the channel, as always. That's right. And yeah, have a safe flight. And this gives me peace of mind to know that you're going to be all right. You're not going to be down in Fort Lauderdale around in Florida where you usually are during this storm. That's really good. Yeah, Tommy Dookie is checking in, guys. Good day, Lex. Go Raptors. That's right. Tom Duke is in the house. That's right. West Coast Raptor Freak president, Mr. Tom Duke, holding it down in Victoria, British Columbia for us on the early time. That's right. It's 6:38 for Mr. Tom over there, and he's getting up early with us live. Tommy, we love you, the emoticon giant. He's the producer of this channel from the West Coast, putting all the little cool emoticons for the members of the channel in, like that 30th anniversary logo he's got there in the Raptor head. I love that, Tom. I love that, Tom. And you know what? Tommy, a couple years ago, went to the open practice for the Raptors when they held their preseason training camp in Victoria, British Columbia. Tommy was in attendance, and he got to meet Scotty Barnes at that. Well, I have to tell you guys, they have announced the open practice for this year in Montreal. It will be held at McGill, guys. McGill University in Montreal. And let me give you the deets. Let me just pull it up real quick. It's on the chat here. Where did I put that? There was somewhere in here. I was saying, attention, everybody, attention. Hang on. I got to find it in the chat, guys. I wrote it in yesterday, and I want to make sure that I find it. No. Where did I write it? There's so much in the chat. Isaac Campbell, you're funny with the breaking news. That is hilarious stuff. Okay, here it is. The Raptors are set to host an open practice on Friday, October the 4th, which is next week, guys. Next Friday, a week from this Friday at 7 p.m. at the G. Donald Love Competition Hall on the campus of McGill University. Now, if you're anywhere near Montreal, and on October the 4th, and you want to go see the Raptors have a practice in front of you live, and I'm telling you, in this setting, it may be a little easier to get a picture with them, or even maybe an autograph. I don't know. If you are around Montreal, go there October the 4th to that competition center at McGill University. You can watch a Raptors open practice as part of their training camp in Montreal next week. So that's the tip for anybody who's in that area, people like MJ and that can shoot over there and maybe possibly be our eyes on the scene in that open gym, open practice. That's right. There you go, Tommy. at the event the time he went in Victoria, guys. So I can highly recommend it through Tom because he told me that it was really, really awesome. He got to meet Scotty Barnes because of that. So yeah, you can't hate on that. You can't hate on that. Kareem is here, guys. Good to see Butt Dial, our dunk champion, the greatest dunker in Raptor Freak family history. Just like Vince Carter is the greatest dunker in NBA history. Well, Kareem Thomas is the greatest dunker in Raptor Freak history. That's right. Glad to see Mo Pete come back to represent. That's right. Mo has always been a real one with Toronto. He's come back and showed up. You know, you can tell the real ones for Toronto because they make these crazy mascots of them. Yeah, the mascot suits. We've seen them at Raptors games where they come out. We'll see like Muggsy Bogues mascot. You see like Matt Bonner, Jose Calderon, Morris Peterson. That's how you know that you're a real Raptor is when they actually put the money in to make a mascot version of you that comes out into the games. But yeah, Morris has one of those, and we love Morris. Morris was always one of my favorites. I know he's one of Monique's favorites. I think that Monique's, if she has a top 5 favorite Raptors of all time, Morris Peterson's in that top 5, guys. Yeah, Morris spent a lot of time with Monique and talking to her when he played for us, and they have a special bond. So, you know, listen, Morris is just a good guy. He's just a great dude. He's always been a fantastic person. And, you know, most of his career was with the Raptors. Then he went on to play for the Hornets and a couple different places. He was in New Orleans, actually, for the Hornets, not in Charlotte. He played for the New Orleans Hornets, and he did play for a couple of other NBA teams. But he really, really is known for being a Raptor. And it was cool that Morris came to Toronto because it wasn't that far from his hometown of Flint in Michigan. So he loved being in Toronto. He's a real one. And to this day, Morris Peterson still represents Toronto, comes to games on regular occurrences. Every couple years, Morris is at our games. And that's what I'm saying. These are the kind of alumni that are real and legit and good guys like Morris Peterson, Jerome Williams, Muggsy Bogues, those kind of guys that show up. And you know they show up because they actually got a mascot of them at the Raptors games. That's right. That's right. Mo Pete, let's go, Mike. Logical Raptors fanatic in the house. Project Truth, always, Mike. We got to tell the truth about Vince Carter's tarnished record with the Raptors. And I love that people are putting on blast. And there are quite a few people that are saying we shouldn't be doing this fucking shit. Seriously, different streamers, different people around the media. A lot of people are not with it on this Vince Carter retirement of the jersey. And I'm one of them. And I know some people will be like, whoa, Lex, you're the Raptors freak. You should love all things Raptors. I do love Vince in some ways. I love that he put us on the map. I love that he had the Air Canada effect. But I do not love him as a player for the Raptors. I really, really do not. And that's why I was always against retiring number 15 for Vincent Lamar Carter, because he just doesn't deserve it in my eyes. All right, but speaking of Vince, today is an anniversary, guys. 24 years ago today in the Olympics, Vince Carter dunked on 7'2" Frederick Weiss in a USA versus France game back in the day. This is the dunk of death, is what they call it. It's the game where Vince had his hair grown out for the Olympics, and he went up and over that man. He had his nuts on his head. And yeah, you know that dunk I'm talking about. Well, this is the anniversary, guys. And this is one of the reasons why we say Vince Carter is the greatest dunker in basketball history, because he jumped over Frederick Weiss on this date 24 years ago. Of course, that event happened playing for Team USA and for the Olympics, but not for the Raptors. So in some ways, that's not really our highlight in some ways. In some ways, you can say, yeah, he was a Raptor at the time, and that's cool and stuff like that. But also at the same time, yeah, this guy, he's a turncoat. Let's just put it that way. Kareem's saying, Mo Pete doesn't get talked enough around here. Hang on, it jumped ahead. Let me make sure I catch that whole comment. Mo Pete doesn't get talked enough around here. A real one like Alvin. Yeah, you know what? This is true. I've actually realized there's like 3 Raptors I have not been covering on this channel correctly, and I'm going to change this very soon. And Morris is the first step today. Now, we've done a Morris Peterson trivia, but we do need to talk more about Morris Peterson. You're exactly right. Another player that I don't know why I don't talk about this guy more, because I really, really should. And also, he has a book out that I need to read, because even if it's in Spanish, I need to read it, because this guy is a very important person in the Raptors history, Jose Calderon. I have no idea why I don't talk about Jose more. I really should. Jose is an amazing raptor. And in some ways, I really want to read his book. So that may be the next book I need to get is Jose Calderon's book. And I'll do the next book report on that book. But yeah, I can't believe I'm not talking about Jose more on my channel. And the third one, and this really came about that I remember that I haven't talked about this guy hardly at all on the channel because of the recent news, is Matt Bonner. Honestly, that's a big hole. I don't know why we've never talked about Matt Bonner on this channel, hardly at all. But we're going to change that too. In some ways, because he's on the Raptors show this season, I'm definitely going to show some love for Matt Bonner, even if I'm not going to be too thrilled about the lineup of the two of them on that show. Still, Matt Bonner is a great Raptor that I need to put more respect on and talking about, just like Jose and Morris, because these guys are underrated Raptors and people that I don't know understand why. What the hell, Lex? Why haven't you talked about Calderon more? What is wrong with you, bro? You've been doing this channel for 3 years and you've barely talked about Jose. That's right. I do need to talk about him. Kareem, you're right. I have some holes. If there are any other Raptors that you guys can think of that, Lex, why the fuck have you not been talking about this person? You know, let me know. Seriously, you can be like, Lex, you need to talk about this old Raptor. Why do you not ever talk about this one? I don't know what's wrong with me. But yeah, I'm gonna read Jose's book and we'll bring him up. Yeah, Isaac's here. Don't ever forget, love is the thing. Also, JYD needs more shine too. Yeah. I talk about JYD a bit on this channel. You can go back in the archive and you'll find some Jerome Williams clips. Jerome, his jersey has been put on blast on my channel in the past, like many times. I've talked a lot about his work around the Raptors, more current times. He's been back in Toronto a lot in recent years, over the years, actually. In some ways, I have talked about Jerome. I've done a Tuesday trivia for him. And he's just awesome. Jerome's a Facebook friend of mine, and I have interacted with him, and he knows about this channel. He's actually checked out the Raptor Street channel, and he's watched us before. So we love the JYD, of course. And yeah, you're right. JYD should be talked about more on this channel also, Isaac. You're exactly right. Love is the thing. Love is the thing. I don't know that song. I don't know what song you're referencing there. I would sing it. Cowboy saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Tap to you, Bradley. Canadian Cowboy in the house. Neon Moon. He said, let's go, Mo Pete. Mo Pete. I like what you did there. You put Mo in there and put Pete after it. Mo would love that. The Mo's, the two Mo's. That's right. The two Mo's. What if there were three Mo's? Mo Lawrence, Mo Peterson, and Mo Howard. The Mo's. Yes, we love our Mo's. We love our Mo's. That's right. Let's go. Cool Cat. Cool Cat is in the house. Holding it down in the 416. The heart of Toronto Raptors territory is the city of Toronto, baby. And Cool Cat is there. Coach, what are you saying this morning? Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Masai spoke yesterday at the Bloomberg session on African initiatives. Joel Embiid was with him, and Masai mentioned Siakam many times. I have not been able to see this footage, but I did hear about this, that Masai and Joel were at the same place, and they were talking about, of course, basketball development in Africa and things like that. There's a New York Times article out. I have not read it, that is once again highlighting the troublesome pairing of the NBA with Rwanda and the dictatorship of the government there. There's a lot of press coming out trying to make a big deal out of this in some ways. Human Rights Watch people are like, oh, why is the NBA in business with Rwanda? Well, once again, I'm going to tell everybody, why is anybody in business with China then? Seriously, let's just not pick on the small African country that's gone through genocide and all kinds of crazy shit in the last 25 years and is just trying to build itself back on its economy. Well, why don't y'all fucking talk about China? No, because they're a big, huge economic power and they're so important that you guys won't fucking come and be holier than thou about human rights violations with China and everybody doing business with them. Don't pick and choose this bullshit. That's not equal when you do that. We go look the other way when it has to do with China, but you are all about putting on blast Rwanda. So I'm just going to say this right now. It's like, look, somebody's trying to help that country get something going economically. Yes, leadership is troublesome in a lot of countries around the world. Trust me, Israel, Russia,
China, North Korea. There's a really troublesome leadership all over the place. But in some ways, there ain't no problem with doing business with some of these other countries because they got more capital and power and economic power around the world. But y'all are going to go pick on lowly old Rwanda. Seriously, just let that country get something going and stop picking at it like this, y'all. Seriously, is there an active war going on in Rwanda right now? No. There is one in Putin's Russia. There is one in Israel with Netanyahu's genocidal, crazy-ass behavior. So, seriously, USA, you can't be holier than thou about the NBA working with Rwanda when you guys work hand in hand with people like the Saudi Arabians, the Israelis, and, China. So, that's all I'm saying right there. I'm sick of this shit. Y'all want to put this on blast. Y'all want to start talking about Rwanda and the NBA. Well, there's way more worse people out there right now. And you better be keeping the same treatment for everybody. Everybody. But no, you wouldn't dare write an article about how every single corporation that works with China right now is working with a human rights violation country. No, you'll never put that on blast for all those big mega corporations doing big business with China, would you? No, you wouldn't. But if it's black people, it's the NBA, it's Rwanda, you're going to put that shit on blast. Shame on y'all. Shame on y'all is what I'm saying right now. That's what I'll say to that. That's right. That's right. Mike's saying Calderon spent like 8 years here too. Not great years, but he was a real one. They were great years. No, don't get it twisted, Mike. You're talking about how the team did. Now, listen, there was a range with the Bosch years. They did get the playoffs a few times. They did have successful times, seriously. And Calderon was very good at times, too. That man was, all right, the thing about Calderon that's awesome is he was kind of a throwback to Stockton. That's the thing. He was like a Spanish John Stockton. He was all about the assist first. He could get you some good steals, and he shot such a high percentage. His field goal percentage was always right around 50% every single year. And for a guard that shoots from the outside, that's really good. It's a measured, very smart game that he knows his spots and he takes the high percentage shots and he's not taking trash shots. So Jose, man, he's a badass. And in some ways, he's still lurking around in Raptors record books in different little corners. If you go and look at Raptors records, Jose Calderon's name is around in those places. I mean, he's one of the guys on the team that actually got one of the highest assist totals ever in the history of the Raptors. Freddie, of course, broke that record in recent years, but Jose is like in the top 5 for one of the highest assist games in the history of the Raptors. And he has all kinds of great stats. So listen, to me, when Jose played on this team, he was like the second best player after Bosch in many, many of our years. And he was such an efficiently good point guard. And I got to get his book, man. I can't believe I haven't bought his book yet. It's been out forever. Maybe it's because I think it's just in Spanish. I can't read it. Maybe that's why I'm like, man, you need to just get the English version of Jose Calderon's book, Lex. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll get it somehow, some way. But yeah, Calderon, man, Mike, listen, individually, a fantastic winner. But that team, 50-50 on whether they won or not. And there was some stinkers, no lie. Now, the other part of Jose that's interesting is talking about his little point guard battle at that time between him and TJ Ford. You know, that was such an interesting time, the Ford-Arone backcourt, because it was a real controversy in Raptors world at that time about who should be the point guard starting for the Raptors. Should it be TJ Ford or should it be Jose Calderon? And man, that was such an interesting time. There were people that were really in the Ford camp and people that were really in the Jose camp. And they were totally different kind of point guards. So in some ways, the Raptors had 2 very good point guards at that time that were both worthy of starting, but they were 2 totally different looks. TJ Ford's one of the quickest players to ever play in the NBA. And it's a shame that he had that spinal cord injury that messed up his career in some ways. TJ Ford's a great Raptor also. I have a lot of love for him also. And he's another one we don't talk about enough. I should be talking about TJ Ford more often also. He's another one. I think that one of my blind spots is actually the Bosch era, that I need to probably go back and talk about Anthony Parker more and the guys who are around the Bosch era. The 15 that I respect more, Jorge Garboza. Yeah, these guys are maybe a blind spot that I have not covered correctly on the Raptor Street channel. And you may be seeing these guys pop up more in the content in the months, the weeks to come. Yeah. Fiercey's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak fam, and Happy Wednesday. Let's go, Wednesday. Let's go. Survivor's on tonight. I love Survivor. It's such a stupid show, but it's fun. All right, let's keep going. Fiercey saying, "Good morning, Raptor Freak family, and happy Wednesday. Safe travels, Trevor. Where can we see this session?" It's Cool Cat. Yeah, I'd like to see it too. Cool Cat. If you can find the Bloomberg interview with Masai Ujiri and Joel Embiid, I would love to see that also. Cool Cat. You're not in our Facebook chat, so you can't share it with us in the Facebook. So we need to get access to this. That's right. Trevor's saying thank you to Fiercey for the safe wishes. Blackhawks here. What's up, Neil? Big up, Raptor Freaks. Big up to you, Neil, holding it down in the 416 also. Our guy, Blackhawk, is in the house. That's right. JYD for life. For life. NWO for life. Yeah, we love the JYD. Dude, Jerome's so awesome, man. When I met Jerome, he's just a really nice guy. He signed my jersey at a Raptors Clippers game like 10 years ago or something like that. I've had my signed Raptors jersey of Jerome Williams. I bought the jersey during the Vinsanity era with the playoffs, and I bought Jerome's jersey. And I was like, yeah, I got that Keon Clark jersey that I have behind me also. All the purple front blackbacks. And man, Jerome is just awesome. He's so accessible to the fans. I'm telling you, you can get online and you can talk to Jerome Williams through Facebook. If you find him, he might actually talk to you back. Seriously. Stargate's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Stargate. I hope you're having a good day. I keep driving around on the roads and I see Stargate's name on the back of trucks. And I'm like, whoa, Stargate. Then it makes me think of Stargate when I see it on the back of the dump trucks out in the country. So yeah, Stargate, I see you everywhere on the back of these big, huge dump trucks. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, Lex, I really like you featuring Mo Pete. He was a fan favorite and a nice person. He embraced being a Raptor. He often comes back from time to time. Yes, yes, and yes. In some ways, he's a forgotten hero for the Raptors, and he shouldn't be. The young players, the young Raptors fans need to know who Morris is. They need to know who he is. And I need to do a better job of educating, is what I'm saying. But yeah, Morris is interesting because he did try being a broadcaster for the Raptors. It didn't work out, but he still has love for us, which is amazing. So Morris, salute to you, Morris Peterson. You're OVO's hometown hero for this season in the OVO fall fashion line. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, Morris is one of my favorites too. You know, he has the same birthday as me. We have the same exact birthday, which is awesome. I share a birthday with Morris, and I believe he's like 1 year younger than me. That's right. He's a 1 year younger than me or 1 year older than me. I'm not sure. Cowboys got the Darko with the fire eyes on here. The red eyes are back, baby. Yeah, this is another guy. You know, this guy's been in the lab. This guy's been researching. This guy's been watching tape. This guy's been doing his job 24/7 all throughout the season, off season. And Darko's been getting ready. You know, in some ways, we don't see a lot of Darko in the off season. It's not like he's out doing charity golf events, Nick Nurse. It's not like he's teaching courses in Hungary, Nick Nurse. It's not like he's trying to be a celebrity in the offseason, Nick Nurse. No, Darko is hidden and in the dark and doing his research and getting the Raptors prepared and his coaches prepared for the new season and the new things that they're going to be doing with our team. Yes, Chef Darko. We're looking forward to it. And I don't want to see no red eyes because I want you to be happy because there's lots of big W's for Scotty Barnes and the Raptors crew. That's right. Let's go, Coach Darko. That's right. Cool Cat saying Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog. That's right. Junkyard Dog. The JYD. I was a member of the Dog Pound. I love him too. That's what I'm saying. We did a stream on this earlier this summer. The real ones for the Raptors. You can see it in my archive. Just look up real ones in the search and you'll find it. And I go over the list of all the great real ones for this team. The ones that did not do things like Chris Bosh or Vince Carter to the Raptors. The ones that really treated our team, our city, our country with respect. And they came through and they are still beloved and just celebrated like crazy. Of course, DeMar DeRozan is number one on that real ones list. Of course, Alvin Williams is very, very high on that real ones list. Kyle Lowry, very, very high on that real ones list, as is the JYD, Muggsy Bogues, Morris Peterson. Yeah, Jose Calderon. These guys are real ones for the Toronto Raptors franchise, and they are the ones I want to celebrate. And I would retire jerseys for all those guys before VC. I seriously would. I seriously would. Stargate saying Morris was a very, very outspoken about the water situation in Flint. That's right. That's why he is a hometown hero. Because listen, this is a situation that's been going on for way, way, way too long in Flint, Michigan. The fact that they have not had good drinking water there for decades is ridiculous. And in some ways, people like Morris Peterson and what's his name? Roger. No, not Roger. Michael Moore. Michael Moore, Roger and me. These are people that are from Flint, and they very much care about the water situation in their hometown. And Morris has been very outspoken about it. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying that picture with Prince at the Raptors game remind me of all his hits. We will never see another guy like this ever. Trevor, you brought up that Prince photo 2 days in a row after we've seen it. It's just a reminiscing of the purple one coming here. Let's not get it twisted, though. Prince is not in Raptors Nation, even though he did have a proclivity for the Raptors. Maybe it's because we did have purple jerseys. Maybe it's because he loves the city of Toronto. And he did have a house here in Toronto for many, many years. But the thing is, he was always a Timberwolves fan first. He cannot go against his home state of Minnesota. And that was his team number one. But if he had to pick a second team, I'm sure Prince would pick the Raptors probably second. Yeah. But he's Timberwolves Nation first. And rightfully so. Prince is definitely a Minnesota person and he's very celebrated there. In some ways, he's like an icon in the state of Minnesota. And that's fantastic. But you're right, Trevor. I don't know. There's a certain thing that Prince did as an artist when he was younger, where he kind of used ambiguity about his sexuality and himself, but in a very intriguing way that wasn't like off-putting, but also very accepted. And he was just really openly sexual at a time when things were very repressive. And that is kind of where he was a pioneer like that. I mean, there were artists like this before, Elvis with his gyrating hips way back in the day. But Prince took it to another level in the 80s with the Revolution and his great, great songs, his great 80s hits. And he's an icon. And he really did influence a lot of artists and a lot of people after like his whole life. Seriously, there's a lot of people that look at Prince as like, man, Prince this and Prince that. He's a fantastic artist. He was absolutely so talented. He could play every instrument, and he was in charge of really every single detail of his music. He really, really was a true composer in modern times. I like to say this, back in the day, Beethoven, Mozart, Tchaikovsky, these great composers are great, but there are composers in modern day that are just as amazing because they compose music that has movement and feeling to it, just like the classical guys. And I would say people like Prince, Trent Reznor are these kind of people, because even if their music it can be dark or sexy, it can be very, very like composed, like Beethoven would compose his music. So yeah, I put those two guys as modern day composers, people that compose music just like a Mozart would. And Prince is one of them. And Trent Reznor is another one that I like to highlight of 9 Inch Nails. That man is a composer of music, and he knows how to make music and movements and sounds that move your emotions. And that's what it is right there. That's what it is right there. Yeah, I love talking about Prince today, guys. This has been a fun. Cool Cat saying, Lex, on TSN show, one of the broadcasters said we are using Vince's jersey retirement as a distraction to get fans excited while we were rebuilding. Jersey retired for championship gives Vince a statue. They want to give Vince a statue too. No. No, don't give him a statue, please, Masai. Listen, I was like, that was my original thing I thought y'all should do instead of the jersey retirement. In some ways, oh, man, if y'all do both, I'm going to be like, y'all are gross. And in some ways, I'm just that we're over celebrating Vince. And in some ways, all right, listen, the opportunity is still there, Vince. You want to win over fans like me, you better fucking come correct with the truth and a real sincere apology and a real fucking like, don't try and act like everything you fucking did with the Raptors was just godlike and you're amazing. Nah, dog. We know about the dark side and we're going to point it out. And hopefully Josh Lundberg will get a chance to ask you directly about this situation and we can hear you say it. I mean, listen, if you come out there on the microphone and you accept your jersey retirement and you go into a spiel about how you wish things hadn't ended that way and that you say I was wrong for not playing as hard as I should have in the last bit of time when I was at the Raptors, if you come out and come clean and you apologize like a man, if you can own up to your own fucking mistakes in this, you know what? That might go a long way. And it could be very, very emotionally healing for fans like me. Because honestly, you did us wrong and you still have not admitted any kind of wrongdoing in your own sense. Your ego just doesn't allow you to see the faults of yourself from that time. Sure, you may have said, when I was younger, I handled things in a poor way. And if I was older, I wouldn't have done it that way. That's not an apology, bro. That is not an apology. And if you come correct, this may be able to finally heal this rift. And absolutely, time can heal this. And we will be fine going forward with your number up over our heads in our arena. But seriously, this opportunity, you need to take it. And you cannot do this in a half-ass way. You need to come in and mean it and be sincere. And my bullshit detector can read whether you're full of shit or not if you do it in a full of shit way. So do it the correct way, and you could actually hit a home run on this whole thing. But man, if you do this shit half-assed or you ignore this stuff or you just come in and just take all the flowers and you do not still hear the people talking about the shit you laid on the ground next to the garden, yeah, nah, dog. Seriously, you won't get us back. I'm telling you basically how to do it. And it's up to you. In some ways, you could have done it all this time in interviews since, but you have not. And that's part of the thing. That's a part of the problem here. You want us to forgive and forget? You want us to heal everything up? Well, this motherfucker has never, ever apologized for what he did. And that is the biggest thing right there. Yeah, the stuff about the distraction stuff, that's bullshit. TSN and Sportsnet, baseball and hockey channels, they're going to say bullshit about the Raptors and whatever. Listen, it's the 30th anniversary season of the Raptors. It's also the year that Vince Carter's going into the Naismith Hall of Fame. And that means that this is stuff the Raptors need to take care of. It just so happens to coincide with the rebuilding year. And it's not by design. It's not like, oh, we're going to be bad this year, so we better make all these distractions for people. No, this is the 30th anniversary season, whether we're rebuilding or not. And we were going to do this shit either way. In some ways, it is a nice distraction from the possible bad stuff with the team, but I'm not counting them out yet. I'm not like TSN saying, oh, the Raptors going to be so bad. It's good that they have the 30th anniversary stuff going on to distract the fans. No. Stop. See, this man right here, his name's Scotty Barnes. He's about to have a baby, and he may have something to say about our wins and loss column that TSN may be not seeing very correctly. So in some ways, it's like this is just happens to be the timing. It's the 30th anniversary of the Raptors. We got to do celebrate. And, well, it just so happens that Vince is going to the Hall of Fame, too. So, I mean, they can say this bullshit. The only thing I'll say about it is, yeah, it's a distraction in some ways because it'll help Raptors fans celebrate and have something else to look at just in case, not for sure, the Raptors are very bad this year, because that's not for sure. And everybody out there saying and planning and plotting and thinking that is, well, you guys might be shocked at just how good the Raptors are this year. Is one must say right there. Yeah, Cowboys saying JYD loved his energy. Loved his energy. Yes, Jerome is just an amazing person. He's down to earth. He's a real guy. He's just a real dude. Like, if you talk to him, what you see is what you get. Stargate saying, at Cool Cat, I had mentioned that to Lex yesterday. Yeah, we went over it a little bit yesterday, but I don't mind doubling down and going over it a little bit more for the coach right now. Andrew's saying, good morning, y'all. 11 days until Raptors basketball, almost at single digits. Hope everyone is having a great week. There you go, 11. The Isaiah Thomas number. That's right. Let's go. Isaiah Thomas, 11. That's how long we got until we get back. Original team president, Isaiah Thomas's number. That's right. The iconic 11 for the Detroit Pistons. That's up in the rafters. Rightfully so. A very deserved jersey retirement for Isaiah Thomas in Detroit. Yeah, 2 championships. And one of the greatest small point guards in the history of the NBA. Yeah, that's somebody who deserves a jersey retirement right there. You can find it. That's right. Let's see. Mike's saying, no matter what happened at the end, Vince is remembered as a Raptor, and it's more for the league and our part of honoring the past NBA players that got the league to where it is. Vince was a catalyst. Yeah. I mean, listen, I want to highlight the positive things about Vince, But once again, and this is why I wrote to Josh Lindbergh, I said, look, you cannot let them just whitewash this and say all the positive things about Vince without touching on the negative stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of positive things about what Vince Carter did for the Raptors and for Canada. But man, see, in some ways, I'm just one of these kind of people. In some ways, you know how the mafia is. When you cross us, you cross us. Yeah, and in some ways, I have that kind of mentality. And in some ways, he crossed us. Let's not get it twisted. In some ways, he crossed us. He really, really did. It's very disloyal. He basically crapped all over us. He really, really did. And that's part of it, Mike. I just want to have both sides talked about. But everything you're saying right there is very true. And in some ways, the NBA as a whole loves Vince in all kinds of ways. And they do feel like he does really deserve it. And you're right. He is associated with our team the most. But that's why he shouldn't have been so stupid in around 2004, 2005, and shitting all over his own legacy at that time and present time. That's the thing. In some ways, I could say Vince Carter's dumbass. Seriously. Because in some ways, DeMar DeRozan understood you build a legacy in your career. You have to have grace. You have to have respect. In some ways, you have to honor the fact that you're privileged enough to play in a league that pays you millions of dollars to play a game that you love. And that you are a very special, anointed person. In some ways, Vince shat all over not only Toronto, but the whole concept of what I just talked about. And that's unforgivable to me. In some ways, like I've said, the fact that you quit on the team, you gave plays to Sean Kemp in the Sonics, that is unforgivable cardinal sins. And if we're talking like we're organized crime, it's like you're dead to me. And fuck you. You sleep with the fishes, Luca Brasi. Is what it's kind of like. With me, that's my mentality about this. Seriously, it's cutthroat. It is. But DeMar, coming from Compton, being around the Bloods and the Crips, he understands loyalty. Oh, yeah, he understands loyalty. But Vince never did, being a band nerd from a high school in Central Florida and a mama's boy. No, that motherfucker was a selfish, egotistical little shit who was only thinking about himself. That's it right there. That's it right there. Brian saying, what's up, Freak Nation? Just finished work. Dap to you, Brian. That Mo Pete buzzer beater will forever live in my head. The one against Washington. Yeah, that's a glorious, one of the greatest shots in Raptors history because it won the game right at the end of the game. And it was a heave from like half court. Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful shot, Brian. I love seeing you here. Y'all check out Brian's YouTube channel, To The Point, T.O. The Point. Brian is out there being a warrior. His Jerry West year, he's being a warrior out there for mental health and looking out for each other. He's taking that baton from DeMar DeRozan, and he's looking out. So y'all need somebody to talk to. Brian's there for you. And definitely check out his YouTube channel, guys. Brian is awesome. We love Brian on the Rap Freak channel. We love him, love him, love him. Let's see. Kareem saying one thing about sports is that it's the ultimate equalizer. With wars, genocide, and everything that's fucked up about this world, sports always brings humans together. That's what the original Olympic spirit was supposed to be. You know, that's how it evolved. You know, they had the Spartans and the Romans and the Greeks and different people were in that region around the Mediterranean, and they were at war quite often and really killing each other in different ways. Well, somebody came up with the idea of instead of going to war every year, why don't we decide things by having sports and we'll compete and nobody has to die and we'll go out there as competition and we'll enjoy it. And that's really what the Olympics is about, is that it's a substitution for brutal combat and people get murdered to get out some things and do some diplomacy between nations. And that's the beautiful thing about the Olympics and sports competition in general. In some ways, that's an amazing, amazing thing. And I agree with you, Kareem. In some ways, that's the thing. That's why I don't like this stuff about all the press about Rwanda. In some ways, it's racial. In some ways, this is very, 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 very racist that they only choose this. Where's the articles about Saudi Arabia? Come on, motherfuckers. Where's the articles about Saudi Arabia? Y'all need to be putting live on blast more. Y'all need to be putting WWE on blast more. You need to be putting these. There's much bigger offenders for human rights violations than Rwanda. Come on now, y'all. And seriously. And I've seen that movie with Don Cheadle. And I've seen that crazy shit that was going on in that country in Hotel Rwanda. But still, you guys got to understand, it seems like what Kagame has done for that country since It's like there's some peace and there's some prosperity starting to build. So what? Rich, racist white people over here are like, ah, fuck, we can't let Rwanda have an economy going well. Let's crush it. Or let's make it sound like it's bad that the NBA is doing anything over there with Giants of Africa or Basketball Without Borders and Masai Ujiri and Adam Silver. Yeah, it just sucks. It's like, why you want to pick on somebody like that? Go fucking talk about China is what I'm going to say over and over again about that all the time. That's right. Tom's saying, I imagine Shamshay, the young prince, probably had even seen VC's dunks. Yeah, I mean, Vince Carter is probably globally worldwide, but we got to remember Shamshay is only 18 and he wasn't born when Vince did his dunk contest. That's crazy to think about, Tommy, isn't it? Because he's only 18. He was born in 2002. And well, the 25th anniversary of Vince's dunk competition is coming up this season. So yeah, you do the math. So he had to have seen it on a tape or later on or something like that. Yeah, Shamshay. You know what? Let's go look at the Instagram stories since I believe Shamshay is involved in that. First, we got Norman Powell running like crazy on the treadmill in cardio days with his trainer. I noticed in this clip that Norman's machine is revved up like twice as fast as his trainer. In some ways, this is like, all right, you know what? This is the epitome of now I'm starting to understand the grind because like Norman does crazy offseason work to get to the level that he is in the NBA. He's working in like crazy. Like the grind is a real thing. This isn't lip service. This isn't just a tagline for his clothing. This motherfucker's out there grinding like crazy. And man, I'm so proud of Norman Powell and the career he built as a Raptors champion and just his long career and his success is all on really, 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 really hard work. Really, really hard work. And Norman's still doing that to this day. He's also at the Las Vegas Aces playoff game last night, watching them win their game and advance the next round. So, yeah, he had front row seat. We're seeing some great highlights of him watching Kelsey Plum and Aja Wilson win their game last night to advance in the WNBA playoffs. So Norman celebrating and supporting the WNBA. It's really nice to see him there. And, yeah, he's having fun. I think he's an Aces fan. Because, of course, Norman's in the offseason. Usually he's in Las Vegas. Davion Mitchell celebrating some sort of foreign player. I'm not sure who this is. It's not Euro Hoops. I don't know the name of the player, but it's a friend of his, I'm sure. Somebody he's showing the highlights of. Davion Mitchell, new Raptor. We're looking forward to seeing your debut in our jersey, my guy. WNBA Toronto president Teresa Resch welcoming the new additions to her staff with Lisa Ferkel and Whitney Bell. And also, she was at some women's and sports thing. They hosted a community of practice with their friends and partners at the Professional Women's Hockey League. So they're in conjunction. The WNBA, Teresa Resch, going to hang out with the people that are in charge of the Toronto Scepters and starting those bonds between the two women's leagues, which is really cool. Kyle Lowry sitting on the bench. We're sitting on a seat next to our guy, Bam Adebayo. Who he's saying my brother is a gold medalist. And so there you go. Kyle, you're a gold medalist too. But it's kind of interesting to see Philadelphia 76er, Kyle Lowry, working out with Miami Heat, Bam Adebayo. Of course, former teammates and friends from their time in the Heat. But yeah, two gold medalists for the United States are Grote, Kyle Lowry, and Bam. Yeah, and then he's putting on blast his old friend Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat also. Jimmy's talking about his dream starting five cast because they had this dumb show. I haven't really commented on this because honestly, I'm going to talk about the show, the starting five or whatever on Netflix that's going to feature Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Domantas Sabonis, Jason Tatum, and Jimmy Butler. And this is you know what? Jeff Landis show deserves all the credit for this genre coming up and this kind of stuff happening for his concept Open Gym. And for what he did and built with the Raptors over the last over 10 years with that, you know, now all of a sudden the NBA sees the popularity of Open Gym and how Masai and the Raptors have been documenting our history on this great, amazing show, documentary style, that they've made this big, huge production show from last year called The Starting Five that followed these five players around. Now, I don't know. They could have picked five other players that would have been more interesting. I feel like they added Sabonis just to have a white guy. In some ways, it's kind of dumb that LeBron's involved in it, but I'm sure he brings more interest into it because it's LeBron. I would watch Anthony Edwards and Jimmy Butler on this. They're like the only two ones that are interesting to me on this starting five thing because they're characters and they're very interesting people. Jason Tatum, just a yawn fest. So I'm not really that excited about the starting five. Netflix series is coming out. In fact, I think that they're ripping us off, honestly, for our open gym concept up here. And so I'm not gonna watch it. So anybody who wants me to watch the starting five on Netflix, I'm not going to because I could give a shit. I could really give a shit. Jimmy Butler's cool. I like him, and Anthony Edwards would be kind of fun to watch just to see how immature he is. But yeah, Jimmy's funny because obviously Jimmy with his hairstyle. I'm looking forward to seeing what hair he looks like for his team photo this year. Emo last year, very cool. But yeah, they're asking Jimmy on the red carpet at the starting five premiere what players would he like to see be on the starting five? And he names Kurt Heinrich, which is really weird. he names Kurt Heinrich, and he says, yeah, he's a real country boy. It'd be real fun to watch him throwing back beers. It's like Kurt Heinrich has not been in the league for how long, Jimmy Butler? And you want them to watch Kurt Heinrich? I know this is going all the way back to Jimmy's early career on the Bulls when he played next to Kirk Heinrich. And maybe he just wants to have Kirk Heinrich's name out there once again, like floating around in circulation because he's just doing him a solid. But man, that'd be ridiculous. He wants to watch him just because he's a country boy and a hick. So he said Kurt Heinrich. It's so funny. Who's the other person? He named one other person. I forget who the other person was. Let me see. I'll watch it again. Yeah, Kirk Heinrich. Because he's a country individual is what he's saying. Oh, and then Michael Jordan is the other person he names real quick. He says Michael Jordan, of course. Well, that's kind of what we saw in Last Dance. And you can't really do starting five on players that don't play anymore, Jimmy Butler. Come on, man. So that's kind of cop-out answers. Kirk Heinrich and Michael Jordan as who you would have liked. I mean, go watch The Last Dance then. Come on. Shamshay. This is why I went here is because we brought up Shamshay. He's putting on blast NBA Academy Africa, closing the chapter on what has been an incredible 3-year journey from Jordanism or whatever. So yeah, Shamshay is celebrating somebody from back on the home continent. Not sure what they're doing. And then there's a picture of Shamshay there. He's very tall compared to his friend. And I think that that's his friend, the guy who we're talking about, Jordan something. So maybe he's a reporter or he's somebody that keeps track of things, and he's leaving his post after a few years over there. And he's a friend of Shamshay's. So that's cool. Always good to see Prince Shamshay in the Instagram. McGlure, Jamal, still putting on blast his beer commercials on his Instagram with some crazy clips of people falling down. There's doing something out in Scarborough. Scarborough is funny or something like that is the event coming up. The Jamal McGlure Foundation. Always doing good things out in the community. Love to see that. And there's a bursary, a JMF bursary, Jamal McGlure Foundation healthcare bursary. So you can look into that and maybe get some help with your healthcare. Pascal Siakam is in the piece of Greece, and we're seeing more fantastic landscapes. There's a picture of a cat on a street in Greece. Pascal taking pictures of his vacation. There he is sitting in front of a blue door. He's hiding his face. Siakam just has a charmed life. And there's a beautiful mountain next to the water and some really weird like rocks. Very, very cool pictures by Siakam. Who's that on his shirt right there? That's that I don't know. That looks like Mookie Betts or something. Yeah, but yeah, there you go. Siakam's on vacation. If you like seeing Siakam on beautiful pictures of vistas and beautiful things, go follow Siakam on Instagram. So Chris Boucher is posted. Fear is what if. Faith is even if. I love that statement. This is a word of wisdom from Chris Boucher today saying that fear is what if, but faith is even if. I love that. That's like saying if whatever happens, I'm going to be all right. Even if this happens, I'm going to do this. And that's the right mindset for being a strong individual and dealing with change and not letting fear run your life and being like, oh, no, this is going to happen. What did they say? If you're already afraid, you're already lost. So fear defeats you as soon as you have it. So I would say this. So many people get stressed out and fearful of things that might happen but may not, that they get all wound up and they already pay the price of stress and being upset. And the thing hasn't even happened. So let's have this mindset like Chris and say that faith is even if it happens, we are ready for it. That's the way to go. There's your Instagram stories today. Yeah, Siakam really loving the peace in Greece, baby. The peace in Greece. That's right. Andrew's saying free throw god. He's talking about Jose Calderon. I know he is because I remember Jose shot like 95% from the free throw line. He was like one of the leaders in the NBA for free throws percentage every single year he played in the league. That's just who he was. He had those high percentages across the board, high percentage field goal, high percentage free throw, high percentage three-pointers even. Above the average of the NBA. So, yeah, our guy, Jose, is very underrated. And why have I not talked about Calderon more on this channel? I'm going to. Don't worry about it. I will. There's Cowboy. He's putting Shamshay and Darko on blast. I like that mix. I'm really, really excited to see if the Darko magic can be worked on Ulrich Shamshay. Let's think about the journey of Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. in Memphis under the guidance of the great coach of the Raptors, Darko Rajakovic, one of the greatest development coaches in NBA history. Well, I want to see what he does molding the 18-year-old from Cameroon who's come to the team this summer. Yeah, let's go. Jamario Moon. Yeah, that's another guy. You're right, Mike. And so with Jamario Moon, he's no joke. He was in the slam dunk competition for us. He's a guy who came from nowhere into our team and played in the league, and he was a serviceable player for a couple of years. He wasn't a great player for a long, long time, but he was a very important Raptor for that time when he was on the team. So, yeah, Jamario Moon's another guy I should probably talk about more on this channel. We're going to make a list, and we're going to get these people, whether it's going to be for trivia or Share the Love Club or something. We're going to circle around, and maybe next year in the summer, I'm going to do all the Share the Love Clubs for underrated Raptors from our history that we have not covered or talked about enough on this channel. And we're making a good list today. We are. Randolph's here. Blessings, beloved Raptor freaks, most informative gang. Do not waste time wondering what's in store for you in the direction you do not take. Keep advancing in the right direction. I love that. Yeah, don't second guess your path. And always understand, this is the best way to deal with regrets, is to always tell yourself, you can't tell yourself that this should have happened or this should have happened or this should have happened. The only thing that happens is now. The only thing that is real is present. And the worst thing you can do is second guess what you've done with your life. You have to trust in your higher power. You have to trust in God. You have to trust in the thing that's out there that you have faith in, that you are in the exact right place in your life right at this moment, and that there's no denying that that's the truth. And in some ways, the people that have the most angst and upset are the people that have regrets, the people that don't trust their path, the people that are like, man, I'm not happy with my life right now. Well, if you're not happy with your life, change it in the way that it will help you be happier. And you can do that. You have that power. Don't stay paralyzed and be like, I can't change it though. Yeah, you can. You can figure it out. And if you can't change it, figure out how to manage it better. That's all I got to say right there. These are huge life tips on how to be happier in your life. And honestly, trust your path. Trust where you are in the spot, even if it's not totally clear and it's confusing. Just trust your path and trust that your higher power, God's looking out for you. If you have that faith, you'll be all right. I appreciate you, Randolph. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the other Raptor Freak families out there right now. Let's see what Leo's talking about. Leo's been posting his life tips a little bit later than me being on lately, but he did post one very early this morning. He's saying the trick is to enjoy life. Don't wish away your days waiting for better ones. You're not promised tomorrow. Today is your best day. Live for today. And if you can do it today, do it. Don't procrastinate. And in some ways, make your day what it is. Once again, the only thing that is real is the present, is the now. Everything that's happened to you is gone, is wiped away, it's past, it's behind you. And everything ahead of you that's unknown and you don't know what's going to happen, well, don't have anxiety about it. Just trust your path and shape your day today by making the most of it. Thank you, Leo Routens, the kid from Kiel, for your great life tips. Once again, we love Leo. We know we love Leo. That's right. Mischief's here. Good to see the bass man, Jay. Do you ever do the Seinfeld bass line? I want to hear Jay play that on his bass. He came to our karaoke night when we did the Raptor Freak hangout at the Real Jerk on Gerard and Carlaw. And Jay came and set up that bass, and he was putting down some fat bass grooves, man, while we were sitting there. I was like, damn, this man's not singing. This man is playing the bass at karaoke night. It was awesome. I always wonder if you do like any of like the TV bass lines from like Seinfeld, or even Law and Order. Dun 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 dun. Bam, 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 bam. It'd be cool. Mischief saying Morris Peterson is reliable, like a 90s Honda. I love that. That's awesome. Jerome is my middle name. There you go. Okay, Jerome. Okay, we'll get back to the Prince and Morris Day and the time. He's like, okay, Jerome. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you know the time and Morris Day and Prince. And yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, Jerome, it's a great middle name. It's cool. And we love Jerome Williams. We love Morris Peterson. Real Raptors. That's right. That's right. Cowboys laughing. Stargate saying, yes, Stargate is a pretty big logistics company here in Canada. You know, I thought it was just a sci-fi show or movie. Stargate. Go through the Stargate, Kurt Russell. It was something like that, right? It was like that. And then I seen your name and I'm like, well, Stargate. I wonder if he likes the sci-fi series. And then I seen these trucks and I'm like, wait, is he driving one of these trucks? And that's why he's called Stargate? I don't know. Either way, I was pretty sure I knew who you worked for. And I was like, they don't drive those kind of trucks. Let's see. Blackhawk saying, just walking around downtown, Lex, while my laptop is getting fixed. Glad to see the Jazz Bistro still exists. Okay. Yeah. You know, there's so much in Toronto that's gone the wayside or gone away. In some ways, we're fighting for Ontario Place's life right now from fuckface Doug Ford. And yeah, there's so much change downtown. So many restaurants that closed around the pandemic. There's so much like just, developers, Voltron coming in and taking old parts of town and demolishing them and to build like huge, crazy condos nobody can afford. I do not get the sanity of the real estate market in Toronto. It's ridiculous. It's part of the reason why I'm staying out here now, because it's not affordable housing. And this is what's important, Premier Ford, you piece of shit, motherfucking piece of crap, big fucking tub of fucking shit. You need to make affordable housing. You can make all the condos in the world, but they don't fucking are not realistic for a mother of two that's trying to survive as a single parent. You fucking are failing as a politician, because honestly, what are politicians for? They're to help the community grow and be healthy and people taken care of. You should be thinking about how people are doing. And you are not. You are fucking care about your fucking corporate interests and friends and fatlining their fucking pockets with sweetheart deals, you piece of shit. So why can't we get some real fucking affordable housing for real people? That's the failure of the politicians of our country. And we can go up to the top and talk about Trudeau for this, but I support Trudeau. And I know people don't. I know people hate him. I know there's a lot of bullshit out there. He did an interview with Colbert this week, and some asshole has gone and taken it and changed all the words on it, so it sounds crazy. This is the problem with AI. Some people may see that fucking segment and think that Colbert really is roasting him. That's a fake segment. The segment from Colbert where they're talking about everybody in Canada hates you and stuff like that. Yeah, that was fucking dubbed over. And that's not the real interview between Colbert and our Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I want real results here with the housing, y'all. Y'all start making low-income housing for people that can afford it and stop dicking around with us with this bullshit. Seriously, that's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. David's saying BGR8 Pro runs. Scotty Barnes, Boucher, Mobo are going to be fun lineup to watch. Yeah, once again, you guys are bringing up runs from like 2 months ago that we watched, and this is old news. Pin down, that was a month ago. BGR8 was 2 months ago. And David, I love you, but that's an old clip. And yes, we've seen the clips of Mobo, Barnes, and Boucher running in Toronto in that clip. Yeah, that was before they even went to Spain. That's how old that is. Yeah. All right, let's see. Classic card, since David is here. He is checked in. So we'll do the classic card of the day real quick. 10:01 is the time. All right, let's see. Who is this? Yeah, we'll do this card. We'll do this card real quick. All right, 10:01 is the time. I'll make sure I jump back to that spot. All right, you know the rules. Full name, answer. Do not half-ass it. Write the whole name. And don't let you get seagull, because you only got half the name. So do it right. Here's the classic card of the day. Let's see if you guys can understand or figure out who that is. In some ways, we're getting to the end of this old box, and there may be some duplicates and a couple cards we may see a couple times at different times. So just so you know, in some ways, this may be a card we did before. I'm not totally sure. I think we might have. I'm not totally sure. But y'all look at it and try and tell me what's up. Like, what's up? Who is that? Who is that? What is this classic card of the day? And that's Christian Leitner in the Wolves jersey. We know that. Isn't that Christian Leitner? Yeah, that is Christian Leitner. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. No, 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 no. No guesses so far. Nobody has any guesses for this classic card of the day. Should I show the back of it since you guys are having such a hard time? The back might give it away right away. There, who's that? You guys know who that is. You should know who that is if you're an old head. You should know who that is. Come on now. We know who that is. Who is that? Terry Porter? No, Mike, that's not right. But he did play with Terry Porter. Terry Porter was the point guard. This guy was one of the forwards on this team. But yeah, he played with Terry. Terry and Clyde Drexler. That's right. Jerome Kersey's right. Kareem's got it. Kareem's got it just before Smooth Brown Man. It is Jerome Kersey once again on the classic card of the day. That's right. Rest in peace. Jerome Kersey passed away in a couple years ago. But yeah, that is a Jerome. 100 points to Kareem, just ahead of Smooth on that one. Yeah. And you guys seen the standings and the trivia yesterday from Tuesday trivia. Amit's lead is a lot closer than you guys. You guys are very close. Smooth, you're very close to being the leader in this. And honestly, I want to see over this year with the classic cards kicking some butt, my guy, because you guys can get points every single day. And Smooth Brown Man, I want to put your name on this trophy. I'm going to tell you that right now. So let's get your name on this trophy behind me. Seriously, I want that. I want that bad. Seriously. So Smooth, keep it up. I know you're here almost every day, but get those classic cards, add them up. And yeah, you could be on this trophy next. Seriously. All right, let's see. 1001 was where I was at. Let me get back to it. Let's see. Smooth saying, you're right. Prince was Minnesota first and always. Never a Raptors guy. Attended the occasional game when he lived here because of his love for the game. That's right. And I think he did have a affinity for the color purple, obviously. And the Raptors were wearing a lot of purple in the beginning. So, yeah. And we know that Prince had a house on the Bridle Path for many, many, many years. In some ways, Toronto was his second home after Minneapolis. And he really did love Toronto. He really, really did. So he did spend a lot of time up here in Canada. Mike's saying Barnes and Boucher doing another run together. Interesting. Yeah, that was in the middle of the summer, Mike. It's an old clip. But yeah, Scotty's been around Chris this summer, and Chris is, still a part of the Raptors. So we're going to see what happens. Kareem saying Prince only liked Toronto because we wore purple. Oh, yeah. I think he was dating some chick down here as well. Well, he had a house here. He had a multi-million-dollar mansion on the Bridle Path, not far from where Drake has his house. So he was pretty established in our city as far as like why he owned a house here for years and years. Yeah. Stargate saying I put Maurice White of Earth, Wind, and Fire as one of those composers as well. There you go. I like that. Yeah, modern composers. I mean, in some ways you think, rock bands and stuff like that. And honestly, there are a lot of people that just use the same tired chords and tones and sounds and cliche kind of song structures. See, I can get really into music theory. I love music. And I could honestly, I could write music myself because I have a very intricate understanding about how music works. And some artists are lazy. Some artists just come out with a pop song that's catchy. But some artists really layer and texture their work, and they really think about every single detail. And they're able to evoke emotions that are unspeakable and hard to just say. And that's why I say people like Prince, Trent Reznor, you're saying Maurice White of Earth, Wind, and Fire. They're those kind of like composers like the old school classical composers. That's right. Kareem saying, I would have loved that Damon Stoudemire number got jersey. I would have loved that Damon Stoudemire's number got retired only because he was our first ever pick and he also wore the number 1. Stoudemire wore 20, and that's right behind me. That's actually the number he wore. He wore 20. McGrady was number 1. I don't know. In some ways, I don't agree with retiring Stoudemire's number because in some ways, once again, we got to look at what is the criteria to retire a number. There's not a lot of things you want to have a lot of numbers available. You could run out of numbers if you retire too many numbers. Ask the Celtics. And the thing is, what is your criteria? You have to have a certain standard. You can't have like, Damon played for us for 3 years or 4 years, and he got Rookie of the Year, but that's really the only accomplishment he got while he was a Raptor. A lot of people, like Lewinberg said in his interview on TSN 1050, he said basically, if you look at Vince's career resume with the Raptors, it's not good enough to get his jersey retired. You can look at other teams and other places where they retire jerseys, and often there's huge accolades and accomplishments for the people that are getting their jerseys retired. And Vince never got past the second round with the Raptors. He was an all-star for a few years. He was a dunk champion, but in some ways, he was only on the team for 6 years. And in some ways, that's not a good enough resume. And I would say that Damon's isn't either. No, and neither is Chris Bosh. In some ways, Chris Bosh has some more ability to say he should be, because partly he was a franchise leader for a lot of our stats for a while until DeMar stole all those records from him. And in some ways, that's what you look at: longevity, success. How did they factor into the franchise leaderboards? Those are the kind of things you should be looking at for the criteria of jersey retirement. And in some ways, the Raptors don't have a whole lot of candidates that actually fit it. I've named the 4 that do, and Vince isn't one of them. The 4 that deserve to get their jerseys retired by the Raptors are Kyle Lowry, champion, all-star, gold medalist, longtime Raptor for 9 years. DeMar DeRozan, all-time leader at the top of a lot of our lists, all-star, Olympic gold medalist, pretty much everything except for the championship. Fred VanVleet, champion, most underrated player in the league, honestly, undrafted, amazing success story, G League champion, has the highest game total in points in a Raptors game and the highest assist total in a Raptors game. That's retirement worthy. And then Pascal Siakam, all NBA, most improved player, champion, once again, G League champion. That's what I'm saying. It's the resume of the guy and what their success is with the team. And so we can't retire Marc Gasol's jersey for us, even though he's a champion. He played for us 2 years. In some ways, you can't retire Kawhi Leonard's jersey because he played 1 year, even though he's a finals MVP for the Raptors. In some ways, you got to really have a criteria for this. And in some ways, we don't want to cheapen it by allowing a whole bunch of people to just get their jerseys retired. This should be very, very special. And that's why I'm totally against retiring Vince Carter's jersey, because I don't think that he has the resume. He has the effect, sure. The Eric Carter effect, if it's on the resume, okay, maybe that does put him in some place where he does need to be getting his jersey retired. But for the most part, it's a dunk competition is the best thing on his fucking resume, a dunk competition. Now, albeit the greatest performance in a dunk competition ever in the history of the NBA, but still, that's an exhibition. And yeah, okay. Okay. Brian's saying Prince is my favorite artist since 1980. So if y'all want to talk Prince, I can go for hours. Well, Brian, let's talk about how underrated the Batman soundtrack is. Seriously, why doesn't anybody talk about the Bat Dance? Y'all start dancing, Bat Dance. And yeah, every time you do me, such a rush. Ooh, it goes right through me. Lemon Crush. Yeah, that album is awesome. I love that Batman album that came out around 1989. That was such a good album, man. Seriously. Kareem saying, my favorite highlight of Prince is when he sang Purple Rain at the Super Bowl and it actually rained. Yeah, that was pretty badass. Super Bowl performances, there have been some epic ones. And Prince is top 5. Prince is top 5 for Super Bowl performances. And you're exactly right, Kareem. That was beautiful. Oh, my gosh. I had a similar situation with this. And once again, Trent Reznor comes up on this. I went to see 9 Inch Nails at Molson Amphitheater in 2014 or 15 or something. And they were singing Hurt at the end of the show. And it had been sunny and nice all day. And then these clouds rolled in, and when he did the close of Hurt, and it was just so beautiful, just like that same effect. Like the rain started coming down, and he's singing that really depressing song that Johnny Cash covered. And oh man, it was just like one of those kind of moments. But yeah, that Prince, Purple Rain, In the Rain at Super Bowl, top notch Super Bowl performance. Yeah, better than ripping a titty out. Wow. Mike saying, not gonna lie, Vince got booed for years and he felt just as hurt as the fans when he was acting out. It's time to heal from the past. We finally won a championship. Does holding grudges really benefit the Raps? Well, Mike, we can be diversified on this. In some ways, we can have all different actions. I believe in freedom. Some people can be like, yeah, I completely forgive him. Some people are like, I wasn't even born yet. I don't care. I love his dunks. I love him. Some people will be like, yeah, I saw what he did. I'm pissed off at him, but I'm not that much of a diehard Raptors fan. And so, guys, let's just go ahead and honor him. Some people are like me, and they've been like this since the very beginning of the Raptors. I was never a half-assed Raptors fan. Some fans were like, Raptors are cool. They're a novelty. I like this basketball in Toronto. This is cool. Their jerseys are cool. I kind of want to go down there and hang out and see that, Ethel. Yeah, let's go down there and see the Raptors. And they're kind of like, I was an NBA fan before the Raptors came, and they became immediately my ride or die. And I'm just as like defensive, even in the days of very much a lot of disrespect towards the Raptors. No respect, no clout, no nothing. And I was still this dude like I am today, right from the start for 30 years now. So in some ways, this has been a very difficult whole 30 years, especially near the beginning. And yeah, the Vince chapter and way it went down was one of the worst ever, Mike. We are all have the right to be who we want. And well, he's going to find out at the game. I'm telling you right now, he's not going to get all the cheers when his jersey gets retired. And rightfully so. There should be a bit of a split. And honestly, it's everybody's right to decide for themselves whether they want. You don't all have to be like me. Mike, you want to heal from the wounds, you go ahead. In some ways, I want to hear a couple things from him still before I'm willing to do that with you, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah, Trevor's saying people love hear bullshit so they can talk about it, and TSN is lighting the fire for the dummies to complain about. Yeah, I don't watch TSN. I don't give a shit. I mean, in some ways, it's like whatever. TSN and ESPN suck. And in fact, let's go look at ESPN, what the bullshit they have up this morning about the Raptors and the rest of the league. They have a new rankings up. It's the NBA future power rankings. Once again, I don't understand this. They do these future power rankings, and they're trying to talk about how your team stacks up over the next 3 years. And, they've done this one before, and the Raptors are always in the bottom third, and we are once again. Now, before we were 24th, so we've raised up 2 ranks to number 22 on their rankings. But they have categories and ranks on here, and they have like players, management, money, market, and draft. And they're trying to analyze the forecast for all the NBA teams over the next 3 years with the draft picks they have, the money they have available, the management team that they have in place, and the market and stuff like that. So they've ranked them all. And in some ways, this is our rankings by ESPN. This is how they look at the Raptors. They've got us ranked number 22nd as in players. So we're exactly at our rank in this with the players. They think our quality of our core current players right now is 22nd best out of 30 teams in the NBA. That's what ESPN says when they look at our roster on paper right now. They said this is the 22nd best team in the NBA. Management. They gave us 21st. They actually think that Bobby and Masai are actually the 21st best front office in the NBA. Number 1 was Oklahoma City, guys. They think Sam Presti and Oklahoma City is number 1 in front office right now. And they've got the great Masai and Bobby Webster all the way down at 21 right now. That is fucked up. That's insulting. We know our front office is actually top 5 NBA, but you can go ahead and put that bullshit out there. You can go ahead. Money. They're saying we're the 7th best team for money. And this is actually really good. That means that like we have the 7th best flexibility in assets and money going forward. And this is actually a really good rank for the Raptors. Top 10. And this is true. We're pretty freed up in certain ways that we're going to be flexible, and things we can do with the cap are nice. So that's a good rank for us right there. They've ranked our market as Toronto as being the 15th best market in the NBA. Number 1 is New York. Number 2 is the Lakers. Number 3 is the Clippers. It's such bullshit, honestly. We're the 15th best market in the NBA. That is bullshit because we have the whole entire country, Canada. And also, in some ways, Toronto as a city by itself, you're going to tell me that there's 14 other markets that are better than our market in the NBA? That's bullshit. What are these teams? I don't understand this. And then the last ranking is draft. And that's basically draft picks and power that we have in the next 3 years. And they've actually got us at a good rank. We're 7th in that one also. So in some ways, the Siakam trade and some of the stuff we've done in the recent years have allowed us extra draft picks. And they say we have 7th best draft pick power in the next 3 years. So that's a good sign too. So in some ways, this ranking saying that the Raptors have top 10 flexibility with money and draft picks over the next 3 years. But still, they have us 22nd as far as our future over the next 3 years. And they're writing of the copy, and I'm pretty sure this is Bontemps, that piece of shit once again. He's saying Toronto moved on from its prior era this past season as Fred VanVleet walked in free agency last summer before Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby were traded. With money and draft scores inside the top 10, and a player score that bumped up slightly from 24 to 22. So on some reason, Tim Bontemps thinks that our team's better than it was the last time he looked at this, at least by 2 spots. The Raptors are firmly oriented toward the future behind all-star Scotty Barnes, mid-season acquisitions Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, and 2023 lottery pick Grady Dick. And that's all he's saying about it. So we're top 10 with money and draft, according to Tim Bontemps of ESPN right now. So that's pretty interesting stuff right there. But of course, yeah, there's always going to be some sort of shade and weird shit. Number 1 team on this list for their future so bright that they got to wear shades is actually Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has the 2nd best group of players right now, they're saying. The best management, 3rd in money, 3rd in draft, and their market is 27th out of 30. That sounds about right. But they've got the most bright future. Celtics are 2nd. New York is 3rd, and Philadelphia is 4th, and the Mavericks are 5th. 6th is Denver, 7th Rockets, Minnesota 8th, Golden State 9th. I don't understand that. Why are you putting fucking Golden State so high up? Steph Curry's going to retire, you dumbasses. San Antonio's number 10. So those are the top 10 as far as the future so bright for teams in the next 3 years. Smooth saying Prince lived during the very dark years of Raptors basketball, the years I don't want to remember. Lived in Toronto. Yeah, I mean, in some ways the games were like partly like Hollywood because there was celebrities coming all the time. We hear in the book Prehistoric how that was very important in the early years of the Raptors to have the celebrities in the first year coming to the games and sit in the front row like Samuel L. Jackson and getting notoriety and making the games more hip and more fun. You know, that celebrity factor was a big deal in the success towards the Raptors in the future. And Prince was one of those people showing up and coming to our games to help with that. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Mischief saying, please apologize, Vincent Lamar Carter. Apologize. It will go a long way. I think it would. In some ways, look, everybody loves when people are real and they come around. In some ways, Vince is fake to me until he does this. In some ways, if he doesn't see it from outside, he can only see it from himself, then he's an egomaniac. And he has not figured out some things in life that are important for people to be a well-adjusted person. And in some ways, Alvin Williams asking him, Vince, do you think you have anything you need to apologize for with the Raptors? And him saying, no, I don't. It shows that he really doesn't think he did anything wrong in what he did on his exit with the Raptors. And he did. That's just the damn truth. I'm sorry, he did. David saying, we're less than 2 weeks away from Raptors basketball. Fuck all the other shit. Go Raps. There you go. That's right. When October hits, I'm going to be hitting the ground running and getting ready for previews and reactions with our games coming up. In fact, I can't wait. I'm almost there. It's amazing. The off season is very long, and doing a live stream every single day on Raptors content when it's really tough this whole time during the summer. That's why I'm a badass. Because honestly, nobody else in Raptors content world is doing something every single fucking day, even throughout the whole offseason. So in some ways, getting through this marathon of the whole offseason and seeing the preseason coming up on the horizon very soon is very gratifying to me. And I know that I put that work in this summer, just like our Raptors did, hopefully, and they're going to show it on the court this year. That's right. Smooth saying the unique thing about Vince and the jersey retirement is both the people who are for it and against it are right. Yeah, I think this is true. I will admit that, yeah, in some ways, Vince, in a perfect world, if he hadn't done certain things, I'd have no problem with retiring his jersey. I'd be wholeheartedly behind it, and I would be very, very excited about it. But why is the first ever jersey retirement for the Toronto Raptors, a team that I've loved for 30 years now, is making me upset and making me unhappy? Why? Well, something's wrong in this picture. It's really because this guy his record is fucked up. His record is fucked up, and that's why right there. And Smooth's exactly right. Both the people for it and against it are right. He's exactly right. He's saying both sides have valid opinions as to why it should or should not happen. Yeah. And listen, I'll show this. I mean, I am somebody who accepts things. And in some ways, we've got to accept that they're going to do this. And I'm not going to get all mad and pissed off. I'm not going to boycott the Raptors because of this. I'll voice my concerns and my problems with it. But in some ways, it's not going to change me getting up in the morning being the Raptors freak every day. Even if I totally disagree with Vince Carter being the person that gets their jersey retired by our franchise first. I absolutely. I've been saying this for years. I've started talking about this probably 5 years ago with friends of mine about who should get their jersey retired by the Raptors first. And was when they got the championship, I say Kyle Lowry should get his jersey retired first. I'm sorry. Kyle Lowry should get his jersey retired first. He is a champion for the Raptors. And that deserves a jersey retirement right there is what I'm saying. Yeah, Andrew's saying, stars don't understand if you come here, you're a hero to the whole country. And I'd rather play in Toronto instead of Detroit, Indiana, Cleveland, etc. Yeah. Because in some ways, listen, you know, DeMar's feeling that now. He's got a best-selling book across this country of Canada. And part of it is what we're talking about right here. They feel it. You do it right, Canadian people will love you forever. In some ways, Kawhi threw that away. He's an idiot. And you know, this is funny. I'll bring up Bret the Hitman Hart because Bret Hart brought this up in one interview one day. He said he didn't understand why Kawhi did what he did and turned his back on the Raptors because honestly, in a wrestling, when you get that over, like so over in a region, you milk it for the money. You economically milk it. You're like, yeah, Bret Hart is so loved in Canada, but so hated in the United States because of what he said about the States on Monday Night Raw when he was feuding with Shawn Michaels. And, you know, that energy of love or hate is money to wrestlers. And in some ways, Mick Foley actually said this too. And Bret Hart has said they don't understand why Kawhi turned his back on Canada because he had them in the palm of his hand. And that he had the keys to Canada as like the king of Canada for what he did on the Raptors championship team. And he threw the keys in the ocean and went to Los Angeles like an idiot. Like he doesn't understand the ramifications in some ways economically that he threw away or the adulation or just anything. He's like, you were over here, bro. And you didn't respect that or value that. And in some ways, that's sad. In some ways, that shows how low IQ Kawhi Leonard is. Seriously. He's not a very smart guy. Because honestly, for his own future and business, he was stupid to leave Toronto after just 1 year. He should have allowed us a chance to repeat. And honestly, that might have been enough to ensconce you as a Canadian hero for the rest of your life. In some ways, you're a footnote. That's the sad thing about Leonard. He's a footnote in some ways. Because he just didn't allow for the real setting in of you are a Canadian hero, bro. You turned your back on it. Well, you get what you get. A broken down, half-assed career ever since you left Toronto. And what I'm hearing today is motherfucker's still hurt right now. And they got to load manage him right now because of his knee. So, yeah, I mean, everybody makes choices. And, well, Kawhi, you made a mistake. And that's what Mick Foley and Bret Hart think. And they're wrestlers, and they understand what happens when you get over. You were over, my guy. You could get over in Detroit, but who cares? You could get over in Memphis, but that's small potatoes. You're getting over in the fucking whole country of Canada, the second largest country in the world. That's right. Should not. That's right. Cool Cat saying, I was one of the fans that booed Vince every year he returned to play. Many years later, I let it go and stopped. He was in tears, emotional when we stopped booing. I forgive. Don't forget. There you go. I like Cool Cat's statement here. She's forgiving him, but she has not forgotten what he's done. And yeah, Lewinberg talks about in his radio interview this week about how Vince came back on the 10th and the 20th anniversary 10 years ago. We did have him come back and he waved to everybody and people gave him a cheers. And in some ways he started crying because he had been through so much with us, like booing him so much. And he was still playing at this time. We got to remember that also, that he was back in the arena and we actually gave him kind of a standing ovation with not as many boos in our 20th anniversary season. And it touched him. It touched him. Well, that's great. But once again, Vince, this is all from your egotistical side. And in some ways, you got to just figure this out, bro. If you can come correct, we can heal this rift. Seriously. And I'm proud of you, Cool Cat, for being one of those people. I was too. Trust me. I was at those games booing the hell out of him too. I really was. Mike saying, Andrew, the players know what Toronto offers. Laugh out loud. They can't get enough. Yeah, I'm not even sure what you're alluding to, Mike. Maybe those agencies I was talking about yesterday. But yeah, whatever you're saying. The food, the culture, the multiculturalism, the really fun activities around the city, the nightlife. Yeah, there's a lot to Toronto. Andrew saying, I can't get enough in the off season. You can't get enough in the off season? What are you talking about? We get back. We're going to be in the season soon. That's right. Mike saying, imagine hitting up the greasy garage theme places in Detroit. Well, that's part of it. I mean, listen, you think SGA, the way that he dresses, the way he carries himself, the badass, the best Canadian player in the league right now. You think that SGA enjoys the nightlife of Oklahoma City? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, out of markets and ranking markets, 15th out of all 30 NBA teams, Toronto. Come on now, ESPN and Tim Bontemps. Come on now, 15th best market. You're not counting the whole entire fucking country. You got to call Firebolt all the way on the Maritimes, and you got to count Tom Duke all the way out on the Victoria, British Columbia side. So I'm just saying, you're missing the whole target here, is what I'm saying right here. That's right. Smooth saying Vince had a couple of chances toward the end of his NBA career to rejoin the Raptors, but opted not to. I think that is also a reason why there's such a divide with him in Toronto. You know, that would have helped things. Honestly, I was calling out for that. I was a Vince hater, but I was like, you know what? If you came back and played next to Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan at the end of your career, if you just came back and played one more year with us, that might have healed everything, Vince. But you deciding to fuck around in Sacramento and Memphis and Atlanta and all these other fucking teams that don't mean jack shit in your long-ass career. I mean, think about it, Vince. You dropped the ball. Once again, I wonder about your IQ and how smart you are. Because, listen, just like DeMar's talking about, I would bookend my career with Toronto Raptors at both ends. You could have done that. And you know what would have been even specialer about you doing that is you would have played for the Raptors in the 90s and the 2020s. And that is fucking insane because you could have done like a 20-year period between in your career. You're the only player that ever played in 4 different decades of the NBA. And you could have said, I played for the Raptors in the 90s and I played for the Raptors in the 2020s. Why didn't you line that up? Why didn't you come back here? Even if you weren't paid a whole lot of money. Why didn't you do that, Vince? Because in some ways, the problems we're having right now with your jersey getting retired, if you showed up in good faith and healed things in our jersey and came out and played at the end of your career and showed I came to Toronto to be a leader next to Kyle Lowry and play with my friend Kyle Lowry and be on the Raptors one more time, man, that would have fixed everything right there. I would tell you right now, that would have fixed everything. So you're an idiot for not choosing the Raptors, one of those last stops that you had in your NBA career. Seriously, you're an idiot. Because in some ways, you could have like had this braggadocio thing that I played for the Raptors in the 90s. Yeah, I did Vinsanity. I did the Air Canada effect. And I also played for them in the 2020s. And that's the longevity of it. In some ways, you could have tied your career up in a bow and made it a beautiful healing thing. But you fucking dropped the ball on that, man. This is like talking about big names on Raptors that dropped the ball with their decisions. Kawhi Leonard and Vince Carter. Because that opportunity was there. And all those rumblings around those times when we were hearing about Vince possibly coming back to the Raptors in the last part of his career, I was hoping for it. I wasn't against it. In some ways, I was like, yeah, let's do this. Because I knew what it would do. It would have healed things, Vince. But you're dumbass. You couldn't even figure that out. You're an idiot. Oh, my gosh, Vince is an idiot. And I'll say this shit. And people get mad at me. We're retiring his jersey. Have some respect. Fuck you. I'll have respect for Vince Carter. Fuck that shit. I ain't going to have no respect for him. Put the name Johnson on the 15th. Now, I've seen a facsimile of what they think this retirement jersey is going to look like. Now, I know the Leafs, way they have retired their players, they put a long banner with the player's face and their number on it. I hate that. I do not want that kind of jersey retired in our arena. And I do not want that thing anywhere fucking near our championship banner. Seriously. And the picture I saw, it's on Bodog or some stupid ass site, some betting site. They have a facsimile mock-up of a Vince Carter retirement banner that has his face, almost his whole body, just like the Leaf ones, and his jersey on the bottom of it. And it's right next to our championship jersey. It's disgusting to me. You better put that motherfucker at the other end of the arena, Raptors. Don't put that jersey anywhere near the championship banner. You need to put Lowry's retirement thing up there next to the banner. Yeah. Or Freddie or Pascal. Those guys that were there on that team need to be next to that. And Vince's fucking thing, and he shouldn't have his face on it either. I just want a simple, plain jersey with just a 15 on it. Don't even put his fucking name on it. Just put a 15 up in the rafters, and that is it. A purple 15 or whatever. I don't care. Maybe you just do his in purple for signifying his era. And then you do our current guys, our Raptor champions, are guys like Kyle and Fred and Pascal and red. And you put those ones over near the championship jersey because it's a championship banner. In some ways, that will matter to me, is what the banner looks like and where the fuck is it placed in our ceiling. Seriously, these are things that MLSE needs to think about. And in some ways, I don't want Vince Carter's retired jersey number anywhere near our championship banner. I really, really don't. Put it at the other end of the arena. Seriously. Put it at the east side of the arena, MLSE. Seriously, right there, right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Andrew's saying, I thought Vince was going to retire here. I know. That would have fucking fixed a lot of shit, Vince, you dumbass, you idiot. Was it your mom? Oh, Vince, you never want to go back to Canada. Don't you? You know how they were to us. Okay, Mom, I'll do whatever you say. That's maybe why right there. Michelle Carter always telling Vince how to run his life. I mean, you better do what your mom says and stuff like that. When she has some sort of grudge against the Raptors, she's like, Vince, you can never go back to the Raptors. I'm sorry. Why are you even considering going to them? Seriously. Yeah, don't listen to your mom. She's been one of the worst advisors for you in your life. Seriously. Seriously. Let's see. Let's keep going. Mike's saying, smooth. I think we didn't want VC at the time. We were close to winning the chip. Well, there was even around that time after. He played after we won the chip. And he could have came afterwards. Let's not get this twisted, Mike. He could have came afterwards. He could have came right before. In some ways, it maybe was the role he would have gotten. I don't know. There were really high rumors that was very much like this could be very possible. And I could see where at that time, I remember, I could see where it was fitting in and it could have been possible. There were some places where he could have made choices and he did not choose. I don't know. I think that honestly, I remember Masai saying he was open to it and that, you know what, I think they were trying to work it out. And I don't think it was our front office said, no, we don't want to bring Vince in at all. No, think about it. Think about this. With the MLSE and the money that would have been made if Vince Carter had returned to the Raptors at the end of his career. No, that's good business. The Raptors would have bent over backwards to get him here and make a room for him. Seriously, because just think about the merchandising and the full circleness of it. But no, I'm telling you, Vince probably he said, Smooth saying he opted to remain in Sacramento and Atlanta in those decisions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying right there. Mike's saying we could have gotten VC instead of Jeremy Lin, but Lin had more playability. See, I would have been okay with that, but then Vince would have gotten a championship with the Raptors. That's what would have happened right there. I mean, if you switch out Vince Carter for Jeremy Lin in our championship year, yeah, Vince gets a championship. And in some ways, he may have helped us more than Jeremy. Seriously, in some ways, he may have helped us more than Jeremy. But so be it. It didn't work out that way. Jeremy Lin's an NBA champion, and Vince Carter is not. Vince Carter is not an NBA champion. That's right. Andrew's saying, I would have rather had Vince Carter over Malcolm Miller. Well, we understand also Vince is a different pay scale, even over a guy like Malcolm Miller. Man, I'm so proud of our champions. I wouldn't take that away from Malcolm Miller, an unsung champion for the Raptors. In some ways, no, don't take that away from him for Vince. Vince made his decision, and it didn't happen. Jody Meeks, when you say Jody Meeks instead of Vince Carter instead of Jody Meeks, sure. In some ways, but no, Jody Meeks got that ring instead of Vince Carter. But maybe it could have been Vince Carter instead of Jody Meeks on that Raptors championship team. That's what I say right there, man. Mike's saying gave minutes so Fred and Lowry could rest minutes before the chip. Gave minutes. Oh, you mean Jeremy? Yeah, Jeremy was helpful. In some ways, he didn't play a whole lot for the Raptors in his time on the Raptors, but he was helpful, and he technically is an NBA champion with the Toronto Raptors. And that is what it is right there. Smooth saying both times Sacramento and Atlanta asked him about rejoining the Raptors, and he said no. Yeah, see, he dropped the ball. I could say Uncle Dennis and Kawhi dropped the ball with Steve going to Steve Ballmer. And then also Vince Carter dropped the ball by not returning to the Raptors before the end of his career and healing the very big rift that's going on still right now. That's right. That's right. Right there. Yeah, Kareem saying we can't forget Mo Pete's awesome blinded layup when he got his headband pulled over his eyes. That's a great Morris Peterson moment. Yeah, I remember that. There's that picture of him with his headbands over his eyes, and he's like laying it up. That's such a great iconic picture, Kareem. I love you brought that up. All right, you're gonna get a dunk for this. This is not usually how Kareem gets dunks. He's gonna get a dunk for bringing up a great Raptor moment. 295, my guy. You're at 295 now, Kareem. 295. You got to get back to 300. Mike saying Masai was the one who said no to VC retiring as a Raptor. I'm pretty sure you're right. Oh, no. I thought you meant retiring his jersey. Masai probably is the one inside. He's like, no, fuck Vince Carter. We don't want to retire his jersey, but we have to. Ed Rogers. I was wondering about this, Mike. Think about this. Rogers just bought controlling interests of the Raptors. What if Ed Rogers declared that Vince has to have his jersey retired? We weren't going to do it. And just in the power change of the ownership group, that one of the first things Ed Rogers said, yeah, I don't understand why we haven't retired Vince Carter's jersey yet. We need to do it immediately. And maybe this is coming from the new power structure of Rogers being in charge now. That could coincide with this. Seriously, that could be part of it. I think that in some ways there weren't totally signs that we were going to do this. Now, Masai did say last season, at the end of the season, we'll surprise you with what we're going to do for Vince Carter next season. And that could have meant anything. I mean, he didn't give any details. That could have meant the statue that I was pushing for or the jersey retirement, which is happening. And it could be that the change in ownership. And one of the first things that Rogers said, I want to show you guys how powerful I am. We're going to retire Vince Carter's jersey no matter what. And it could be that the Raptors front office was not intending to do this and that they did want to retire Kyle first. So, I mean, that could be what happened there. Seriously, I could Windhurst that shit and say, well, what just happened just recently? Well, Ed Rogers is in control of the Raptors now. And that could be part of it right there. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Mike saying from what Vince says. I don't trust anything Vince says. In some ways, somebody shows their actions on the court and says the bullshit. Yeah, I don't trust him. I don't trust anything he says. In some ways, he's like Sam Mitchell. He'll come up here and he'll kiss our ass and he'll be all smiley and like, oh, I love Raptors. I love Toronto. And then he'll go down into the States and he'll fucking shit all over our country and our city and our team. Yeah. So I don't trust anything Vince says as far as saying who and what happened and all this kind of stuff. No, I don't trust what he says. Andrew saying Shamshay, future greatest athlete of all time. That's a lofty moniker right there. Andrew, I mean, I hope we can get anywhere near this, but you're talking about all sports. That guy Otani's looking really good on baseball right now. Holy crap. The season he's finishing up this year for the MLB. Holy crap. Cowboys saying alley-oop to Andrew. Prince Shamshay it starts in 11 days. That's right. There you go. All right, we'll give Andrew a dunk because Cowboy has set him up with the lob. So you got our starting year now, Andrew, 95 dunks for Rookie of the Year, Andrew. He's got it. He's representing our 30-year anniversary. That's right. There you go. Mike saying he said we were locked in on trying to win. I believe we didn't want to cut flexibility and have to play him. Whatever the excuse is bullshit. Honestly, at that point in Vince's career, he was not necessarily a focal player. He could have came and just sat on the bench and been a team leader like Thad Young or Garrett Temple and just hung out and maybe even collected a ring. In some ways, it's like whatever it is, it's stupid because we know Vince Carter in the last 10 years of his career was half the man that he was. He used to be half man, half amazing. Then he just became half the man. And maybe that's just karma for breaking the cardinal sin of not trying his last games in Toronto before he got traded. And playing half-assed, well, he got half-assed stats for the last half of his career. And in some ways, that man wasn't like demanding to start. That man wasn't demanding to get regular minutes and rotation every single night. No, this guy was on the bench. And in some ways, he could have sat on our bench and healed stuff and been a leader and maybe kind of even reignited some of the Air Canada stuff up here. I would say that Adam Silver and the NBA would have wanted this to happen because they are all about that. And Vince Carter returning to the Raptors at the end of his career would have been a huge money boon. And Adam Silver would be like, oh, of course, Raptors, get Vince Carter back. In some ways, he's not as powerful as he was. It won't make a needle push for you guys in any kind of way, but it will be great for merchandising. It'll be great for your ticket sales. It'll be great for all kinds of financial things with the league, which is what Adam Silver cares about as a CEO, formerly of Disney. And he's just a bottom line corporate fuckface, Sith Lord. And that's what I'm saying. The opportunity that was missed with Vince Carter coming back and bookending his career in Toronto is a big fucking fail, is what I'm saying. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, holy shit, think about what could have happened. And he totally dropped the ball. Vince, you could have been a champion possibly. You could have been an NBA champion, and it would have been on your original team. And in some ways, if you were holding a Raptors championship ring, oh my gosh, think about what you would be in the eyes of the Raptors fans. So you dropped the ball, bro. Wasting your time in Atlanta and Sacramento. Wasting your time, bro. You probably were like arrogant. You're like, oh, Raptors will never win the championship. Why would I go there again? Well, we did, motherfucker. And you missed out, bitch. That's what I'm saying right there. Seriously. Seriously, man. Seriously. It's very interesting, man. Smooth saying VC would have been a better option than Jeremy Lin. He was lost out there. I mean, Jeremy Lin, all right, I don't want to diss Jeremy. I like Jeremy Lin. He's gotten a lot of heat in different places in different ways. Jeremy Lin, I'm proud of him. And I'm proud that he got that ring with the Raptors. Seriously, it's a really big deal. In some ways, I'm glad that Jeremy Lin can say he's an NBA champion because of the Toronto Raptors. It's a really big deal in some ways. In some ways, him being one of the most prominent Asian American players in the NBA's history, him getting a ring with the Raptors is a big deal. So I would just say that. Vince lost out. If he could have been in Jody Meek's spot or Jeremy Lin's or Malcolm Miller's or Eric Moreland's, he missed out. He missed out. Cool Cat's saying, I think Siakam is in Greece for Giannis's wedding. Really? You think that's why? I think he's just likes to go to beautiful, picturesque places. And I don't know. Giannis, I don't know. Giannis hates everybody in the league, right? Isn't that like how he is? He's like, I don't want any friends. I'm not trying to hang out with everybody. In some ways, that's the way Anaconto carries himself. He's trying to be a fierce competitor, and he's a throwback in that way, and I respect it a lot, honestly. I mean, he's going to get mad at a ladder in Philadelphia. Well, is he actually inviting Siakam to his wedding? A man who beat him in the playoffs many times, and yeah. You think you really invited him to that wedding? I don't know, Cool Cat. I don't know about that. Mike's saying smooth. Yeah, VC said the Raptors weren't interested in bringing him back and we're trying to win. That's what he answered to the question of returning. I still say this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. Maybe he would have been a distraction. I mean, that was one of the things I remember them talking about when they were talking about this at that time. Would Vince Carter just be too much of a distraction with his baggage coming back? I don't know. In some ways, once again, players come back and they put the jersey on for your team again. That heals a lot of shit, Vince. And in hindsight, you probably should have came back, is what I'm going to say right here. I don't know who or what blocked that. I don't know who. I'm just saying stuff off the top of my head. But I think that the opportunity was there and he didn't take it. That's what I believe right there. I think that I remember that it was really close. And in some ways, Raptors fans were bracing themselves for the return of Vince Carter to come back to the Raptors, but it never materialized. And I think that there was real fire where there was smoke, Mike. I don't think this was facetious or just half-assed. I think this was actually something that could have realistically happened, but the trains didn't connect. And that's too bad. That's too bad. Smooth saying that Kawhi is getting surgery. Yeah, probably getting surgery right before the season. Kawhi Leonard collecting checks from Steve Ballmer, just like he has for a lot of his career, sitting out and getting big, huge amounts of money for doing nothing. Wow, this guy's like Ben Simmons. Is what this guy's like. Dap to Cowboy from David. I love that. Let's see. David saying, yes, sir. Mischief saying, I want to learn Seinfeld's bass line. I want you to learn it. Seriously. Boom, ba-dum, bam, 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 yeah, I don't know. Watch some more Seinfeld, Jay, and just kind of fumble around with it. Now, they have different interlude bass lines during the show. And if you watch the earlier episodes of Seinfeld, they're different. Like there's a lot more stand-up parts with Jerry. and they play all kinds of different little bass lines around that show. So yeah, maybe you could have a whole like I know somebody's probably done this. They've taken a whole bunch of the different bass line parts from Seinfeld and they've made it into one long song or something like that. But that'd be very cool if you figured that out. And I would love to see you do it. Seriously. So we're saying Leonard going to be out for a part of training camp. Wow. Yeah, no surprises here. No surprises here. I mean, Leonard, we might as well say Leonard's going to be out for the first 2 months of the season. Seriously, we might as well just say that. Cowboys saying, you know it, coming, David, Mischief. Yeah, adapt to my guys at Real Jerk. They were hanging out that night. All of us, we were a big, happy Rapid Freak family at the Real Jerk a couple years ago that summer. It was awesome. Knee surgery. Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, listen, the man was going to play in the Olympics, and they said, no, you can't play. And then why didn't he take the surgery earlier? Instead, he was taking pictures of himself in Cuba looking all bummy. I don't know what was going on with Kawhi this summer. And in some ways, once again, anybody who's getting surgery right now, Bruce Brown, it's a little fishy. It's a little fishy is what I'm going to say right here. Yeah, it's a little fishy. Yeah. Let's see. Trevor J saying Raptor and Anthony Parker. Anthony Parker, the younger brother of Candace Parker, WNBA great. Anthony Parker, a great Raptor in the Bosch era. That's right. Mike saying Ontario Place was losing the government money. I went down the abandoned amusement park rabbit hole. Listen, this is a very special place to me, Mike. I worked at Ontario Place when I was younger, and it's a public land. And the big problem here with this is that it's not that it's losing money. It's that Doug Ford sees an opportunity to make a whole bunch of money for a friend of his, and he's trying to do something with a corporation from Europe called Therme. And they want to build a spa that's very bad for the environment. This is a horrible idea because this is public land. This should be owned by the people of Toronto. And for the last few years, while Ontario Place has been closed down, there's been used as a park. And I would go down there myself. I'd ride my bike down there and walk around the edge of Ontario Place on Lake Ontario. And there's beautiful views. There's all kinds of wildlife down there. They did a really good job with the park down there. Now, Doug Ford is taking our public lands, our property as public for us, everybody, the whole community, and selling it for his own benefit to a private foreign investor to make money off of us. This is wrong. This is wrong in every kind of way. He's trying to do the same thing with the Science Center. You cannot frame this in any way that this is like, oh, this need to be happening. No, it's bullshit. Because in some ways, look, you could tear down the Atlantis nightclub and all the skywalks out there and get rid of them. The land mass that's out there still could be out there still, and it could be a nice natural park for people to just go and run and jog. There's actually a private beach out there that people use to swim. A lot of low-income families can go down there and use that beach to go swimming. He's taking that all away. Not to mention the amount of environmental degradation that an underground parking lot is going to cause in a lake. Does that even make any fucking logical sense? Logical Raptors fanatic? That you're going to build an underground parking lot in a fucking lake? Doesn't that sound like stupid? And not only that, Doug Ford wants to use Ontario taxpayers' money to pay for this shit for Therme to profit off us for years and years and years. This is the same kind of shit as the 407. Mike Harris sells a fucking highway to China, and all of us are paying toll fees to fucking foreign companies in other countries. I'm sick of this shit. Canada, part of the reason why our economics are fucked up is because there's too many foreign companies and foreign people leeching off us and bleeding our economy money out of us. There's so much money that's going to other countries out of Canada because of things like 407. And the Ontario Place project is another case of this bullshit. And honestly, I don't trust Doug Ford. He's getting a kickback. He's getting a favor. He's getting something out of this. Trust me. He's just as dirty as Donald Trump down there. And everything that he does has a financial back kick to him and enriches his family or his friends somehow. So yeah, don't even get it twisted. If they left Ontario Place just as a natural place that people could just go down and walk, very low maintenance, it's not losing money. I don't know what you're fucking hearing from one motherfucking Doug Ford talking piece of shit. But Mike, trust me, I know all about Ontario Place. It's a place very dear to my heart. I have many memories there since I was a child, going there as a kid to the water park, riding that log ride, going all around that place. And then as an adult, working there for a couple of summers, running the pizza kiosk behind the Cinesphere. Nah, this is a very personal place. And I am not about anybody spreading some bullshit other than the truth about that place. You can buy Doug Ford's bullshit, hook, line, and sinker if you want, Mike. But I'm going to let the record be known the truth about what's happening at Ontario Place. And we need to stop this shit. We need to stop this shit now. Does it make any fucking sense to build an underground parking lot in the Lake of Ontario? And do you understand that pollution and weird shit's going to happen? It just sounds so fucking stupid. And plus, do we want a big, huge fucking structure on the coastline of Lake Ontario blocking the views from seeing it? And stuff like, there's all kinds of reasons why this is stupid as fuck. This spa, it will cater to high-end clients that are rich, and none of the people downtown that live near it, that are low income, will be able to even use the fucking spa. It's a horrible idea. It's Doug Ford acting as a dictator and not listening to the will of the people because he wants that fucking money. Once again, Mike, that's what I'm going to say right there. He's saying it was dangerous and attracted thrill-seeking and possibly a lawsuit. Well, they can close the fucking runways. They can close the rusted-ass Club Atlantis and all the metal that is over the water. They can close that shit. Nobody needs to be walking on that shit. They can put gates and all kinds of shit out there. If there's fucking kids going out there and doing that kind of shit, well, that's on their own, those fucking idiots. And seriously, listen, Mike, I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't mind if they took down the fucking white part of the building that's hanging out over the water. That's the only thing that's a problem here. They destroy that shit. You reuse that metal, do something else with it. That part is dilapidated. Yes, that part is rusted out, and some parts of it is unsafe. But they could take that shit out and leave the landmass that's around and leave the park the way it is. They could easily do that. That bridge that connects on the West Island to the main entrance of Ontario Place is actually in really good shape and is perfectly fine. So they could still have a roundabout to go through it. But they could take down fucking Club Atlantis. They could fucking take down that half-ass weird science place that they had in there. Yeah, they could get rid of that part and it would be fine and leave it as a public space for the public and not selling it out to foreign private companies like Therme. Mic drop. Mike. All right, let's see. David's saying, I don't care when the BGR8 run was. I'm just saying, everyone's thinking we are a sub 500 team, needs to get their fucking head checked. We'll have to see. I think we're going to be a 400 team, David, but we'll have to see. I like your enthusiasm and I like what you're saying. I really, really do. I like what you're saying, and I hope you're exactly right. I really, really do. All right, let's see. I lost my place, and I'm behind. There's a lot to go, and it's only 2 hours in. Let's see. Yeah, Ontario Place is somewhere very, very special to my heart. So is the Science Center. And I do not like Doug Ford fucking with my childhood memories. And I think a lot of people in Toronto are that way too. As far as the Science Center, talking about how it's not in good shape, no, bullshit. The ceiling is in really good shape. We had these deluges of water, and there was no fucking flooding, but he still closed down that fucking place. And the engineers looking at the roof of the Science Center said that this could be fixed easily, and this building is fine. In some ways, that building just needs some repairs. And this is what Doug Ford does, whether it's healthcare, education. He fucking rugs them dry of funds. And then he says, oh, our healthcare and our education suck. So my rich friends who have their companies, their private schools, their private hospitals, I want you guys to go to them because I've sucked the funds for the public stuff. And this is a game plan for fucking, once again, enriching people. There's no reason why Canada wants to be like the healthcare system in the United States. It's a failure down there. But a politician like Doug Ford would have us have our healthcare be more and more like the U.S. And that's a fail, a big fucking fail. So you short the funding for different things, and then you come around and say, oh, this isn't working right. We need private people doing this shit. That is the game plan of that fucking piece of shit, Doug Ford, the premier of Ontario. And that's just the damn truth, Mike. That's just the damn truth right there, what I just said. That is just the damn truth. All right, let me see. You guys are doing the classic card at this point. Wow, that's how far back I am. I need to get going. I'm an hour behind right here. David's saying Smooth actually was leading by a bit before yesterday's trivia for one day, basically. Yeah, Amit came in and he got some questions yesterday. Actually really impressed with how Amit did on the Tuesday trivia yesterday. But yeah, Smooth, you're right there next to him. And go for it, man. Kareem saying the back of the card gave it away. Yeah, you know Jerome Kersey's face. It's pretty easy, yeah. Mike saying the smooth OB. Laugh out loud. There you go. David saying, yeah, smooth. You're a monster with the classic cards. We'll keep going. Seriously, any of y'all, there's actually a few of you guys at the top near Amit, and I want y'all to keep this competitive. I do not want this young man to be running away with the second championship. I want one of y'all to win. I want a different champion every year. I do not want to put Amit's name on this trophy twice. That is the mission of the people that are near the top on the Raptor Freak Trivia, is to beat Amit. And classic card is the way to do it. And Smooth's the best candidate. And if Kareem can do it, that'd be great. Put your name on this trophy, Kareem. Seymour Pape, you do it. Isaac Campbell, any of y'all that are up there and good at the classic card, come in and play it hard. Andrew, do it. Because seriously, the classic card will be happening every single day, and there's going to be a lot of points for it this season. Just so y'all know. Just so y'all know right there. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right, Cowboy. And Smooth saying, I didn't know I was that close. You were ahead of him yesterday until we did the trivia. And then on the trivia, he got some more points and got ahead of you. You can look at the stream yesterday, and in the comments, you will see exactly how far you are behind him. And there's other people that are very close too. So Kareem and Seymour, I think you're up there too, just so y'all know. That's right. Kareem saying, in some ways, this is what I say, David. I kind of want you to put the standings out more regularly. In some ways, you're going to need to do this because I'm not going to be doing trivia every week when the season starts. You're going to need to pick one day of the week where you release the new trivia standings so that we can see them. And that's why Smooth saying he doesn't know what the score is that's bad. And in some ways, I always made sure that all y'all knew exactly where the standings were at that time. So, David, you need to put the standings on blast to an extent. And I would say at least once a week, you need to be posting those standings. And you can pick whatever day you want to do it and put it in the comments section. Because these guys that are competing, they need to know where they're at. And then Smooth not knowing where he's at, that's not good. That's not good. Kareem saying, Smooth is the king of the classic cards. We should actually just get a picture of him and make a basketball card. Well, I have a picture of Ahmad Rashad somewhere around here. There you go. Alley-oop the dunk champion. All right, we'll do that. I should get an alley-oop for that joke I just did too. Honestly, for the Rashad joke. All right, Kareem is at 296. He's only getting one dunk each time because I have to slow him down. I'll go to 120 though. I'm at 120 on my dunk list. That's right, 120 for Lex. That's right. Let's see. Mike saying Terry Porter comes to mind when I see those jerseys. Yeah, he's a great Portland Trailblazer. Very honored. Very, very much very beloved by Portland Trailblazers fans. Because that was an era of the Blazers where they were actually really successful. I mean, they went to the finals against Isaiah and the Detroit Bad Boys in 1990. And, they gave them a good run, but they didn't win. So, yeah, Terry Porter is a very fondly looked at trailblazer in the history of there. Clyde Drexler, Kevin Duckworth, Danny Young, Jerome Kersey, Trailblazers, Cliff Robinson. Are very much a beloved squad in that franchise's history, for sure, for sure. All right, there's David's put the list of the top 5 there. See, Smooth, Amit, Smooth, Kareem, Fiercey, Andrew, and Isaac. That's our top 6 right there. And you guys can see where your numbers are and how close you are. Even Fiercey's only 800 behind Amit. Andrew, you're about 17 behind. But yeah, top 4, Amit, Smooth, Kareem, and Fiercey, y'all are in play for that. Right there, that trophy in the corner, that big one. That's right, top 6. Andrew saying, did you see the Grizzlies are retiring Tony Allen's jersey? I love this. I seriously do. Tony Allen, in some ways, is an underrated player in the NBA. He was a more defensive player, and he did a lot of dirty work. And in some ways, this makes total sense. I totally applaud Memphis Grizzlies for retiring Tony Allen's number because in some ways he was beloved. And he really was ensconced with that team. He will go up there with Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol's numbers retired up there already too. And it makes sense. In some ways, Tony Allen's not a well-known player, a superstar, but he is one of those kind of guys that just did things right for their team and just loyal and right. He is like a Morris Peterson for our team. And in some ways, maybe one day we do retire Morris's number. Probably not likely. 24 is a pretty good number for a lot of people to have. But in some ways, this is like retiring Morris Peterson's number for the Raptors. But then also at the same time, you say, like, well, what's the criteria? You want quality in your retired jerseys, right? And Tony Allen, I don't know. I like it. I really I applaud the Memphis Grizzlies for doing it. But some people will be like, what? Tony Allen? Huh? What? What? Yeah, Cowboys saying everybody slam dunk the like button. I like that. Mike saying, not gonna lie, I was chatting with the guy from England, and the only thing he knew about the Raptors was Vince Carter. He had global impact for the Raptors. Not gonna lie, the Carter effect is real and adds to his resume. I'm not disagreeing with you. I know that the Carter effect is real. I was in the arena. I was there. I saw the dunks with my own two eyes in real life. I watched Vince play do the dunk competition. I went to that NBC game when they played the Phoenix Suns on a Sunday, and Vince dropped 50 points on NBC on live on TV. I was there not even as a worker. I bought a ticket and sat in the arena and watched the game that Sunday afternoon. I know all about this, Mike. And yes, of course, a lot of people around the world know the Raptors because of Vince Carter. I'm not going to dispute that. Brian saying, Prince said that Batman soundtrack he did in a few hours only so he could sleep with Kim Basinger. That's an interesting fun fact by Brian. I'm going to go ahead and give him a dunk for a little trivia question. That's interesting. I did not know that he had done that. That's very, very interesting. All right, where's Brian? Brian's on here. I know he is. There he is right there. All right, Brian, you're at 16 now. 16 dunks for Brian with that little tidbit of information. Kareem saying, in high school, me and a couple of friends went to Kissimmee, Florida for March break. We ran into a couple of people. They asked where we were from, and we said Toronto. They responded, Vince Carter. Well, that is kind of Vince Carter area, too, down there. Kissimmee, not too far from Orlando, not too far from Daytona Beach, the home city of Vince Carter. So that region is Vince Carter territory down there. So in some ways, you go down there and you say Raptors around Palm Beach, well, they're going to probably start talking about Scotty Barnes. You go to Tallahassee and you start talking about the Raptors, they may start talking about Scotty Barnes because of Florida State. So yeah, that's definitely Vince country. But yeah, I get it. Listen, they said this is plain. Vince Carter was maybe the most popular athlete in the world when he played for the Raptors. The most popular athlete in any fucking sport. I get that. That's a real thing. I get that. Mike saying, I'm saying our image is hurt if we're seen to be pity and holding a grudge by NBA fans. I don't give a shit about what the other fans think. They're gaslighting us, Mike. And if you live your life worrying about what fucking casual Lakers Nation or the rest of the world thinks, man, you're having a miserable life. Fuck them. I don't give a shit. I stand on this. And I told you my mentality is mafioso when it comes to this kind of shit. Seriously. You're Raptor for life. When you cross us, well, you're not anymore. And that's just how it goes. It would hurt us more than it would be respected. Real NBA fans haven't forgot what he did to us, but it happens. Bullshit. That was one of the worst things that ever happened. Some people have said that the Vince Carter trade to New Jersey is the worst trade for a superstar in the history of the NBA. And I don't find many arguments against that. In some ways, no, listen, Mike. In some ways, you can play devil's advocate with me on this. In some ways, you go ahead. You're not going to win me over on this shit. You can say whatever you want. I'm okay with you being fully 100% this retirement. I am not. And you should be allowing me to be who I am also. So it's just how it is, Mike. I don't know what you're trying to do here. You can try and justify and rationalize this shit, but you're wasting your time with me. If I haven't changed my opinion about Vince in 20 years, a whole lot, you're not going to win me over with an argument right now. Seriously. And I don't give a shit if we boo him and at that Hall of Fame and they say we're classless. Who cares? They said the same shit when Kevin Durant got hurt in the finals. And that's not what happened. They're going to say what they're going to say anyway. They'll make up shit, Mike. So I might as well be true and real about what I'm doing. And I don't give a fuck what they say. That's what I'll say about that. Andrew saying, how are we so low when we're developing team when there's teams out there that are super old? I don't know. Andrew. In some ways, we get that Canadian discount. In some ways, ESPN is not trying to sell us on anybody because we're not actually on their network. TSN is our network. And in some ways, well, let's see the TSN rankings. They don't really cover basketball, do they? No, they don't. Cowboys saying 22 best, 21 first for front office. Okay. All right. Salute. There you go. Yeah. 21 first for front office. I know it's crazy. 22nd best in the league, 21st for our front office. It's absolutely nuts. Mike's saying our first Hall of Famer, Bosch, went in as a Heat. You know, this is something that Lewinberg brought up when he was talking about 1050, and this is absolutely true. You know, when Vince said he's going into the Hall of Fame as a Raptor, it doesn't really mean anything, guys, because it's not like Cooperstown in the MLB with baseball When Andre Johnson said, I'm going into the Baseball Hall of Fame as a Montreal Expo, that meant something because they actually put their hats on their head and you can see the team that he's on. Vince Carter's bust at the Naismith Hall of Fame will have nothing on it. I don't think they show the jersey or anything. So there won't be any distinguished thing that says he's going in as a Raptor. It's just lip service. So in some ways, just like Chris Bosh declared, I'm going into the Hall of Fame as a Miami Heat, which he did. And Olajuwon obviously went into the Hall of Fame as a Rocket. And then T-Mac, our other Hall of Famer that was on our team, I think he went in as a Orlando Magic or a Rocket. I'm not totally sure. But he didn't go in as a Raptor either. Now, Vince saying he's going in as a Raptor, does this actually mean anything? No, because in the Hall of Fame, when you go there, you're just going to see his face and his name on there. And they'll talk about his career. But he's symbolically saying he wants to go in as a Raptor. But as Josh Lewenberg pointed out, that doesn't really mean shit, honestly. In some ways, it's nice. And maybe it's a way to kiss our ass and try and get us back in good favor with him. But let's not twist it. The going in under whatever doesn't mean jack shit in basketball. Because nobody's wearing caps on their head, is what I'm saying right here. Yeah. Bosh went in as a Heat. He's. I don't even count us as him as our first Hall of Famer. I really don't. Olajuwon's our first Hall of Famer, first of all, because he went in before Bosh and he played for us. We're going to use that criteria. They just had to play for the Raptors in their Hall of Fame. Well, Bosh is not the first Raptor in the Hall of Fame. It's Hakeem Olajuwon, and and Bosh, whatever. David's saying none of it means anything. ESPN power rankings are like Jerome Powell talking on Tuesday about rate cuts, blah, blah, blah. Rinse, lather, repeat. Mike's saying Tim saw the new pics of Grady and bumped us up 2 spots. Laugh out loud. I would. I don't know if that's why he did. I don't give a shit. Tim Bontemps is a piece of shit. He's on my shit list right now. I think that maybe it's the draft. I think it may be the draft more than Grady, Mike. It may be that he sees Shamshay coming through the ranks. It may be that he sees Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed, and those guys. I think that's more likely what bumped him up. And as far as saying our future is a little bit more brighter in the next 3 years. Let's see. Carlos saying, how can you be 15th in the market when you have the entire Canada as your fan base? I know. I don't get that. This is just ESPN shaping perceptions and just putting out frivolous rankings once again. That's all this is, frivolous rankings. They do frivolous rankings almost every day down there. And that's why I look at them and we call them out and we talk about their stupid shit. That's right. Andrew's saying, how do the Warriors have a better future than us? They have like 3 players under the age of 30. Yeah, and Steph Curry's going to retire soon, and that's not going to be good for them. They're going to have a cycle of a bad time after Curry walks away. And I don't get it either. I mean, of course, Tim Bontemps is a Warriors fan, and that's part of it right there. If he wrote the article, well, as soon as you see Tim Bontemps on the article, well, he's from San Francisco. And in some ways, maybe he has a hometown favoritism for the Warriors franchise and everything he writes, just so y'all know. Cowboys saying ESPN probably don't even know who Prince Shamshay is. What a joke. They want to ignore him. It's kind of like this guy's coming. La, 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 I'm not listening. You know, in some ways, they could be hyping him just like they hyped Giannis when he was coming up. Everything's the same about Shamshay as Giannis. And the way that they talked about Inakamto coming in, the Greek freak, and making a big deal out of him, they could have easily done this about Shamshay. So that's what I'm saying. This is a big commentary right now about Scotty Barnes and about whether if he was on an American team right now, how much he'd be getting put on blast that he deserves. You know, it's the same kind of thing. In some ways, if Shamshay had been just drafted straight up by the Grizzlies, we may be hearing way more about him. But they'd rather just put him under a rock. I say, once again, the Raptors going to be a submarine and the U.S. media, they don't see us. Well, let us be hidden. Let us move in the dark and let us surprise them when we come up out of the water and fucking go get accolades and win stuff. That's what we did all through the 2010s when they slided DeMar and Kyle. Well, we can do it again with Scotty and Ulrich. If they ain't going to give us our just due, well, we'll go get it. Well, trust me. There's a really cool clip out by the YouTube channel 6 Man who did something on Scotty and why Scotty's not getting more recognition or praise around the NBA. And he thinks it's absolutely asinine because he sees the skills of Scotty and what he's able to do. And it makes no sense that the NBA is not marketing him more as a face of the league. Seriously, it makes no fucking sense at all. Carlos saying, I guess unless you're American, ESPN doesn't count you. Yeah, that's part of it. It may be double fold with Shamshay. And in fact, we've seen this with Siakam. Siakam does not get the respect he deserves from down there. He does now a little bit more because he's on the Pacers. But also, Siakam had two things working against him. He had playing for the Raptors and being from Africa. And those two things will be something like they don't want to put them on blast for different reasons. Some of it's racial, some of it's economic. And Siakam has overcame that and become a top player in the league. And in some ways, begrudgingly, the league markets him now. But that's the thing that Shamshay has to do. He has to get himself a name and beat the odds just like Siakam did. And they will start talking about you eventually. They will, Ulrich. They will. That's right. That's right. David's saying, all right, preseason game. All right. David, you want to go to the preseason game against the Celtics at Scotiabank Arena on October the 15th? I want to go to that game. Maybe we need to go to that game together, you and Peter and me. We'll go down to that game. Blackhawk saying, winning brings more attention. You can tell the support has dropped off after 2021. Well, yeah, and that's by design. They wanted us to crumble. They wanted us to fall. They hated that we won the championship. We came in and got the championship, and we didn't really get the proper due or blast during getting the championship. And then after we got it, they did not really properly honor us the whole year after that we were the champions. And then all the fucking shit that happened with the league and the pandemic and the bubble and us playing in Tampa. Yeah, we went down a spiral. And in some ways, some of it was manufactured by the product of the NBA, because in some ways they didn't like the Raptors being a preeminent team at the top. In some ways, they did not. They did not like that. Yeah, a bunch of troopers, aren't they? That's right. That's right. Cowboys laughing. Andrew's saying our first 5 regular season games: Cavs, Sixers, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Hornets, over under 1.5 wins. I don't know. And looking at that, I think we'll shock people. Who knows? Maybe we'll come out and beat the Cavs on opening night. That Sixers game's going to be tough. Very, very tough. Timberwolves, we've beaten them early in the season last year. So who knows? Maybe the Timberwolves ain't exactly got things right. Nuggets, always tough. Hornets, we'll probably win that one. So at least win the Hornets game, and maybe the half game is Cavs. I don't know. We'll have to see. Andrew is getting a little ahead. Kaz is here. Joined late. Hello, everyone. What's up, Kaz? Hope you're having a good time out. Carlos saying, I take the over. Let's say 3-2 wins out of those games. Man, that's really wishful thinking. If we get 3, that's ecstatically good. 2 would be awesome. 2 would be awesome. Yeah, hard on the over. David's all about optimism for our team. He ain't having it. We're going to be above 500. That's right. Mike's saying, DeMar and Lou were talking about how players stay out at night. Yeah, I mean, I've heard more stories about this kind of stuff and people not being professional. You know, even in the prehistoric book, it's documented that John Sally had a big, huge party here in Toronto in the first year of the Raptors, and he invited all of the Bulls over the night before we beat the Bulls. And they stayed out all night the night before the game where Damon Stoudemire and the Raptors beat Chicago Bulls on that game. So they're actually talking about how in some ways, part of the reason why the Raptors won that game in Skydome with Damon Stoudemire in the first year is because Sally had actually gotten the Bulls to stay out all night and were tired out the next day. And that's part of why they may have lost to us. I mean, I get it. Listen, I know these guys are young. They're millionaires. And they have lots of money and they want to have fun while they're young. But man, if I was an NBA player, I wouldn't be fucking around with that kind of shit. And some of the players do not drink. I know DeMar said very specifically in his book, Above the Noise, that he doesn't drink. He never has drank. And I know Scotty also has said that he is not a person that drinks alcohol. So there's levels of this. There's like going out and hanging out and doing things in the city just to be seen or be out and kind of feel vibes and not taking anything in your body that's unhealthy. There's also staying out all fucking night, not getting any sleep and coming into games. Yeah, that kind of stuff happens with all athletes. In fact, there was a baseball player in the MLB that just got suspended by his team because he stayed out all night and came to a day game afterwards. He was in a casino gambling. So, I mean, this is a problem with athletes. And in some ways, this is where you separate the people like Norman Powell that understands the grind, that's grinding, from the people that are maybe out there for that nightlife and they're just kind of doing that kind of stuff and they're not as serious with their careers. Whether it's DeMar talking about players coasting on their talent and just getting that bag and not really working on their game and maybe out just being gallivanting around in the nightclubs like James Harden, or there's somebody like Norman Powell who's putting that grind in and working. Siakam, another one, just like that. So, Yeah, this is a phenomenon, Mike, and you're exactly right. The players do go out, and some of them do fuck up and don't play very well because they made bad decisions the night before. Kareem's saying, I think Kawhi winning 2 chips and was MVP in both series, he was ready to just go home and collect paychecks. He doesn't care about basketball, and I'm getting the same vibe now as he did in San Antonio. Yeah, I honestly, it's sad because in some ways you could say Kawhi Leonard could have been one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA, but he'll never get that. And in some ways, he's a wasted opportunity. And in some ways, he could have been more like LeBron and had longevity and stuff. Maybe if he had kept himself healthier, maybe if he had been more available, maybe if he had conducted himself in different ways than he actually did. So, I mean, it sucks. It's sad. What could have been for Kawhi Leonard? A wasted career in some ways. In some ways, I'm expecting Stunted Growth, the YouTube channel, to come out with a clip on Kawhi Leonard when he's done and talking about just how much of a disappointment his career was and what it could have been for how powerful he was. Seriously, because it's true. Kawhi Leonard's career sucks for what it potentially could have been. It really could have been way better than just 2 championships with 2 different teams and all the time that he wasted being on the shelf. Let's see. Cowboys saying 4-1, only lost to Timberwolves. You think we're going to beat all those other teams? We're going to go 4-1. David likes it. That's crazy. Monique's here. Good morning, Rapid Free Crew. And we're at 220, Mo. This is what happens when I don't have you here to cut me off. I'm glad they made Mo Pete rock the OVO gear. Yeah, I think it's awesome. Thanks for sharing that once again and helping me find a topic for today. I love Morris so much, and I know you do too. Kareem saying, what if during Vince Carter jersey retirement, he got the ball and dunked it one last time? You know what would be kind of cool? If we let current Raptors do tribute dunks to him, like maybe Jacoby, Scotty, Grady, a couple of those guys do like signature dunks that he did just in honor of him. That would be kind of cool to see. Andrew saying, imagine we go 4-1 and lose to the Hornets. Man, you're crazy. I don't think the chances of that are very good. Most saying 11 more days. That's right. We've been doing the countdown. Trevor's saying Oklahoma City had nothing to do with it. It's boring as hell. I travel around the U.S. a lot. Only a few cities compete. Only a few cities compete with Toronto, and the list is very small. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know what they mean by market. Do they mean like as far as like economics? Do they mean as far as fan base? Do they mean as far as fun of the city? What do you mean by market when you put that in there at ESPN in your rankings? What do you mean? David saying, laugh out loud. Lex, man, I love you. Haha, your reaction to his jersey being beside the championship banner is priceless. Go back and watch. Yeah, this is a good section. Good section. Clip it out. I do not want to see that motherfucker next to our championship banner. Put him at the other end of the arena, please. Put him at the other end of the arena. Put him at the end where the speaker was on fire, please. Put him at the end near the speaker that might catch fire again. Oh, so good. Mike's saying the version of the dunk contest jersey similar to the one this year is probably the jersey they will put up there. Yeah, the purple front black back. I don't know what they're gonna do. In some ways, that mock-up by Bodog, I hate it. I hate it. I do not want to see something like that up in our rafters. In some ways, if we don't have to see his face, that'd be better. Most of the time, the Leafs did this, though. That's the problem. In some ways, we could go by what the Leafs did, and it may be what the Raptors do, too, with jersey retirements. Up in there, you can see Matt Sundin on the 13th, up in the rafters. You can see his face. And sometimes I don't want to see Vince's face in our arena. I'd rather just see an old school jersey like the Lakers do with the number and the name across it on the wall. That would be way, way better. Yeah. Chick Hearn, microphone. That's great. Wilt Chamberlain, 33. Okay, put that up there. 30. Yeah, whatever you're going to do. 13, Wilt Chamberlain. 33, Kareem. Yeah, I'd much rather see just the jersey and the number and the name and not his face in our arena also. That's something that's going to be annoying. Do not do the style that the Leafs did, where they did Wendell Clark and all those other Leafs that are across the ceiling in the Scotiabank Arena. No, I hope they don't do it that way. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, Mike. We haven't seen it yet. In some ways, that's going to be, and I don't want it near our championship jersey. Masai, don't put it next to the championship jersey. He does not deserve to be anywhere near that banner. He really, really doesn't. He really, really doesn't. VC retired the run it back season. So he retired the year that after we won the championship. That was his last year. Okay. Let's see. After COVID hit. Okay. Yeah. A lot of people want to get out at that point. Most saying Lex reaction for the win. Laugh out loud. Love it. Yeah, I appreciate that, Mo. Mike saying VC would have taken attention and focus away from the players that deserved it and needed to focus. I know that was one of the concerns about bringing Vince back, but I don't care. In some ways, we needed this to heal. In some ways, at that point, I was open for it, and I thought could have happened. I thought it was going to happen. I was bracing for it at that time. And even if it had been before the championship, during the championship year, or the last year that he played, he should have made that decision. It would have made things right now a lot less messy. Trust me. Yeah. Mike saying Messiah is cool with Vince, but winning a championship mattered more than bringing Vince back. I mean, I don't know how much he would have distracted away from us winning the championship. He may have been just in there. We got to understand Vince, even with all the circus and the controversy with him here, the way he is on teams is very kind of fade in the background, just being a quiet veteran leader for the teams that he was on late in his career. And he wasn't really a focal point kind of guy. In some ways, he wouldn't have needed the spotlight if he came back to Toronto. And I don't think these problems would have been actually problems, Mike, is what I'm saying. Most saying Raptors Media Day is October the 1st. There we go. Where's Mil Bester? He kept asking us this. October the 1st, Media Day. You know I'll be covering that, and we'll be going over it. Should I do live stream during the Media Day again and watch it live with you guys and comment in real time as we watch it? I did that last year, and it wasn't that bad. It was a long stream, though. It was like a 5-hour stream or something. So I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it and then react to it the next day. I don't know. Mike saying, I don't know. Vince Carter flat out said the Raptors didn't want me. That sounds right to me. I don't know, Mike. Once again, you're just being contrarian and arguing with me. In some ways, listen, do you want me to put the disclaimer on my show? These thoughts and opinions and views of the person on this microphone and the screen you're looking at right now are solely his, and he reserves the right to have his thoughts and opinions and views. And if you want to argue with me and blue in the face over and over again, like you've been doing the last couple of days, I'm not about it, Mike. In some ways, I want to move on. I'm at a half an hour over my regular time, and you dragging out arguments with me personally over and over again just to prove a point is not necessary. How about that? Your viewpoint is brought out. We're hearing it also. I'm reading your comments, but you don't need to fight with me over a point of argument until somebody gives in, because we're not going to give in, Mike. So do you understand what you're doing is futile? And honestly, I'm really pissed off that you are continuing to do this action. You can disagree with me. We have noted it. But to continually come at me and say, oh, but you said this. I don't give a shit what Vince said. I don't give a shit what Vince said. I've already said on the stream that I don't believe anything he says. Why should I believe a liar who came out and said, I'm coming out to play for the Raptors, and he half-assed tried? So I can say that, Mike. And that's my own opinions. And as I said, there's a disclaimer. These are my rights and my views. And you can have yours too. I'll allow for it, but don't fucking try and argue me into believing what you believe. I think that's your biggest mistake right here, Mike. That's what your biggest mistake is right here. Neil saying, correction, Lex. If VC was half man, half amazing, and became half of that, then he is quarter man, quarter amazing. You know what? You want a dunk, Neil? You're getting one. Quarter chicken, like at Swiss Chalet. Yeah, he's a quarter chicken, quarter man, amazing. Blackhawk, you're awesome, man. I love that. 59 dunks for you. There you go. Quarter chicken. All right, there we go. We got that quarter chicken deal from Swiss Chalet. That's right. Fiercely saying, thanks, Monique, for the media day update. Yeah, thank you, Mo. That might be a breaking news this morning. And thank you for letting us know media day is October the 1st. And there's my cutoff. Thank you, Mo. W Stream, W Vibes. Keep at it always, Lex. Go Raptors for life. We are getting closer to the season. That's right. And Kaz has got Doug Ford in the trash. You want a dunk, Kaz? You can get a dunk for that. My man on the road knows what we're talking about here. This guy is an opportunist. He is one of these new age politicians that really is just blatantly out in the open about how he's screwing over everybody in this country with his own professional and economic interests as far as things. Kaz, you don't have a dunk yet, so I'm going to give you one right now. You're getting your first dunk. I'm going to give you a 5-pointer, a Manuel Quickly 5, because I appreciate what you're saying. Kaz 2929, you're on the dunk list now. Mike's saying this. Let's see what Mike's saying. You guys are like, all right, no more comments, guys. The videos are made by non-political people. Defunct Land is doing mainly Disney lore. Okay, so you're talking about something on Defunct Land. I love that channel, by the way, Mike. I do watch it. Do they have a clip out on Ontario Place? Because I haven't seen it. Maybe I should go find it. If they have done one on Ontario Place, I need to watch it. Listen, Mike, I know from the ground. I know what's going on here. You listen to my spiel on this. You hear what I say. Everything I fucking said about Therme and the deal with Doug Ford is true. And once again, in some ways, it is what it is, bro. David's saying, do a diddy, dumb diddy do. Do what diddy, dumb diddy do. There she was, there walking down the street singing, do what diddy, dumb diddy do. There you go. Mike's saying they talk about attendance and famous video of the waterworks, rusty exposed metal, and they say that about tons of places all around the world. Look, Mike, if people want to save places and invest in keeping them up to date, see, part of the problem is there's been people in politics that have not kept up Ontario Place for a long, long time to let it get to this situation. Once again, I gave a very easy fix. Take that fucking structure down and get rid of it. We don't need it. The park is beautiful in itself. The marina is still operational and good. So it's like, look, Mike, once again, what are you arguing with me about on all this shit? Seriously, Mike, I really, once again, I know that you and I have had our problems in years past. And I thought recently, since you came back, we've been really getting along well. But for some reason, you want to argue with me every step of the way. This one is personal, and I will get really pissed off if you want to argue with me about Ontario Place. Seriously, you will piss me off. Oh my gosh. All right, let's keep going. Grange 2018 can confirm that the Raptors have moved past Vince Carter as a buyout target should he become available. The heat of the playoff race was not the time. This is on the back burner for now. Okay. All right. That's fine, Mike. Keep fucking doing what you're doing. At some point, I'm not going to time you out, but at some point, you're making me go over my time. And honestly, this is what we're supposed to do here. This isn't debate Mike hour. This isn't me going back and forth with Mike as he argues with me. This is supposed to be 2 hours of Lex coming on to talk about Raptors subjects quickly and moving on to the next one. The fact that you fucking keep recycling the issues that we're talking about over and over again on here pisses me the fuck off. Because in some ways, I hear my dad out there with a bandsaw starting to chop some plywood, and there's a job we need to do. And in some ways, he needs my help. And you're fucking holding me up with your bullshit. So, Mike, why don't you edit the rest of your comments right now and figure out which ones of your comments are actually necessary to be on the stream right now before I fucking get to them? How about that? Because I'd like to start the rest of my day. And I give y'all 2 hours every single fucking day, Mike. And you're going to argue with me over little piddly shit. So check yourself. Seriously, right now, all right? Please. Please check yourself, Mike, and understand what is this channel for. It's for educating Raptors Nation on all Raptors things going on, and it's not Mike argues with Lex hour, okay? All right, David's saying, Kareem, stop half-assing it. Stop half-assing it. That's right. All right, I'm just skipping Mike. I'm going to skip Mike. David's saying the formatting on YouTube is bonkers. I'll post the top 10 update list on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, but the list of everyone just after trivia. Okay. So, you know what, David, you don't have to do it so many days. Just do it once a week, but pick one of those days because I know you're a busy guy. Just do it once a week. That's it. Because it's really annoying to make it look pretty. Okay. Just do it once a week. I don't want you to have to do that work over and over again. Okay. That's all. That's all. Blackhawks say Memphis is retiring Tony because of their 30-year anniversary. The very same reason we're retiring Vince. No anniversary, no retirement. Masai upstage Nets by inducting Vince before they do. Boom goes a dynamite. There you go, Neil. That's another great comment. And that all sounds very legit. That Tony Allen's getting his jersey retired because it's a 30th anniversary season for the Grizzlies. Now, I would say this. Why wouldn't they retire somebody like Sharif Abdur-Rahim? Is he retired already? Maybe he is. He might be already retired. And that may be why. Because in some ways, he's somebody that the Grizzlies organization probably should honor. Not Bryant Reeves, but Abdur-Rahim, maybe the most important early Grizzly in the expansion year still in Vancouver. In some ways, he's somebody who was a very good person to that franchise. So I don't know. All right, let's see. Isaac saying, I lost 2 players I liked that day. I also loved Alonzo Mourning. To make matters worse, you guys do you, but in my mind, I still see Vince riding that bench. Ooh, there you go. Isaac is very firmly understands the Vince Carter stuff, and he loved Alonzo Mourning until he got traded to the Raptors, and he refused to come here, and Isaac lost him too. Damn. That's stuff. Isaac Campbell's a real one. We love Isaac, the benevolent one, holding it down in the nation's capital of Ottawa. Isaac, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And it's so funny, that breaking news stuff you're doing yesterday. So funny. Carlos saying, will we see Harden being retired by the Rockets? I don't know. See, this is the weird thing. James Harden has a trail of destruction after him pretty much all throughout his whole entire career. The Rockets, not a good ending. The Nets, not a good ending. The Sixers, not a good ending. We'll see how things go with the Clippers. We can go back and look at his Thunder time. Maybe his Thunder days were the best days, and he didn't really burn anybody through the Thunder. I don't know. But this is interesting. In some ways, we'll see how teams treat James Harden and the way he handled his business with teams and how they honor him. In some ways, this is what I'm saying. People got to understand their legacies and relationships with their teams matter later on if they're going to get honored. And James Harden may be a very cautionary tale in some ways. That, like, yeah, he was on all these teams. He was such a great scorer. He's this and this. And he did not get any accolades from any one of them because in some ways he was just a dick every single time in the way he left and made trade demands. Yeah. Andrew saying, I use Akeem as a cop-out when people say Kawhi is the best player to put a Raptors jersey on. I love that. That actually, you can do that. If everybody wants to say the greatest player to ever play, the most talented player ever play the Raptors is Akeem Olajuwon. It may not have been when he was at the height of his powers, but I'll get behind this, Andrew. I'll get behind this. Mo saying Kyle over Vince any day. I'm on the same boat as you, Lex, in reference to the jerseys. I'm still ticked off about it. There you go. Monique's a real one, too. She gets this. In some ways, we could honor Vince, but this timing is awful. It's awful. In some ways, the Nets are pressing us to do this. In some ways, the 30th anniversary, the Naismith Hall of Fame, it's all pressing us to do this. And Kyle Lowry still wants to play in the league. If Lowry had retired already, he would have gotten retired right before Vince Carter. That would have been beautiful. Somebody described it. If Lowry had retired last year, we could have retired Lowry maybe on the Philadelphia game at the beginning of the season, the second game of the season, and then turn around the next week and retire Vince right then. That would have been ideal. But no, old man Lowry is still playing. Damn it, Kyle. Why didn't you retire already? Why didn't you retire already? Andrew's saying, I like that they don't know about Shamshay. He's going to be our secret weapon in a few years. I agree with this. I think you're right. And he's just got to keep developing in the dark, on the down low, and boom, he's going to surprise everyone. It may be the secret's out by highlights and things he does in games coming up. Carlos saying, thinking about Shamshay developing on-ball skills, getting me excited. I'm all about that too, Carlo. I'm all about that too. Andrew saying, I think Shamshay was a block away from tying the single game block record at Summer League. Oh, that's interesting. I kind of remember that game where he had a lot of blocks. I remember the one you're talking about, Andrew. I think that's right. Cowboys saying the whole NBA is going to know who Prince Shamshay is by mid-season. Later, Lex and Rat Freaks. Dap to you, Cowboy. Always good to see Bradley in the chat. Let's see. Blackhawks saying Kawhi has downplayed his injuries. No surprise there. He should have been evaluated by the fitness to play panel. That might be true. In some ways, you're exactly right. Mike saying, I believe you on the Ontario Place stuff for sure. Just what wanted the record correct on what happened, but whatever. No, Mike, I know that those structures down there are dangerous. And you are exactly right that there probably are knucklehead kids going down there, thrill seekers, maybe doing dumb TikToks like hanging over the water and doing stuff in very dangerous situations with that metal over the water. But in some ways, like I said, that place is really personal to me, and I'm absolutely against the plans that our premier of this province has for that place. It's really, really wrong. It's dirty politics. It's gross. It's a sweetheart deal. And I commend all the forces and powers of people out there keeping the truth out there and fighting this good fight to save Ontario Place. I am firmly behind y'all. And it just disgusts me how our politicians think that they can sell our public lands for the public to private companies. That's just a bad action. And it doesn't just happen here in Toronto. It happens in other cities around the world also, where it's like public space is for the public. And when you go and sell real estate on a lake for millions of dollars, who is getting that fucking money? And why do we have to pay more money? We're not getting money from it. Why is the Ontario government and Ontario taxpayers helping a company like Therme build a parking lot? Like, why do we have to spend $90 million of our money to help a private company build a parking lot on a lake? Because that's what's happening, Mike. And that's corruption. That is corruption. Kaz is saying, gotta go, Lex. Have a good day. And you stay safe on the road, my guy. Andrew's saying, enjoy your day, Lex. Go get that project finished. Yeah, I got to go chop wood, carry water. I got to go chop wood and carry water, Earl Watson. That's right. Blackhawk saying, the thing is, Lex, Raptors and Grizzlies just choose one player to retire. This is just to mark the anniversary as opposed to the normal criteria for jersey retirement. Both teams are bending the rules. Well, Grizzlies have retired jerseys already. This is not the first jersey retired by the Memphis Grizzlies. They've retired Marc Gasol before, and I think they've retired other people too. I think there's a couple of jerseys already in their rafters. Carlos saying, so you can only retire a jersey for a player that's retired? Yes. Yes. I mean, what are you going to do? We're going to retire Kyle Lowry's jersey while he's still playing for the Sixers? We can't do that. Trevor's saying professional sports is not how old you are, but your ability it's still to perform. Okay. I like that little non sequitur at the end there, Trevor J. All right. Let me go over my tabs real quick. Mike, I'm sorry if I yelled at you today. In some ways, I was just getting really frustrated. And a lot of my anger about Doug Ford and Ontario Place came out in that just now. And I apologize, man. Let's see. All right, I did the stories. We talked about Vince's anniversary of the dunk of death on Frederick Weiss. 24 years ago, Vince threw it down on the big Frenchman in the Olympics with Kevin Garnett being there with him. WNBA playoffs still going on. We got 2 more games tonight. Fever versus Sun, Lynx versus Mercury. Those are the games tonight. So get your WNBA playoff action. We have a birthday today, guys. It is the birthday of former Raptor, current Portland Trailblazers coach, Chauncey Billups, guys. So happy birthday to former Raptor Chauncey Billups. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'm 40 minutes over today. It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. Y'all, I appreciate everybody watching me today. Always fun to talk Raptors with everybody in the morning. And I'll be back tomorrow for a Thursday Think Tank. And listen, guys, I think I'm going to bring back the calls for the Thursday Think Tank where you guys can call in and talk to me on the phone. Over the phone. Mike, I want you to call me tomorrow and we'll talk in person on the air. And in some ways, maybe we can have a discussion and it's not so me like reacting to your comments where we can go back and forth and just actually talk. I'll figure out the comments, the topic, and then you and I and whoever else wants to call the number, the hotline. If you're a member of the channel, you can have access to the hotline. We're going to have that again. I got a new phone and a phone plan, so no long distance anymore. So in some ways, I'm ready to open it back up, and we'll do a long distance call-in themed show. And even the guys in America, the guys in Mexico, I have call-in all across North America now. So anybody across Canada or United States can call into the Raptor Freak call-in show now at this point. So yeah, tomorrow we're going to do the live call-in once again. We're going to return that format, guys. Blackhawks saying Kyle is retiring at the end of the season. I know it's one season too late, Kyle Lowry. It's one season too late, my guy. Yeah. Mike's saying you knew Defunctland, so you understand my point. I love that channel. I love that content creator. And yeah, the Disney World stuff is really interesting. And like he goes over rides like that are not at Disney World anymore, like the Country Bear Jamboree and all kinds of stuff like that. And to me, I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I love amusement parks, and I love that channel, Mike. That channel is so good. I have to go find the Ontario Place clip on there because I don't know that I've never seen one on Ontario Place on that channel. And you're saying that they have one on that channel? I got to find it. All right, guys, tomorrow, Thursday Think Tank. If you're a member of the channel, you'll have access to the phone number to call me on the Think Tank tomorrow, and you can call live in on the live call-in show. So I'll see y'all tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Raptor Freak out. Get out there, touch grass, Raptorize your day like Nat Bhatia would. And, you know, Vince, let's heal this thing one way or another. I wish you could have made choices differently in the past, but there's still choices you can make to fix this before this is all said and done. Yeah, Mike's saying it might have been a similar channel. Okay, what may not have been specifically Defunctland, but a channel that's very much like it. Okay, I got you. Well, maybe I'll just do a search for Ontario Place and see what's up. All right, guys, y'all have a great Wednesday. Let's we're so close to preseason. It's awesome. I'm excited just like you guys are. Let's go Raptors. That's right, baby. Let's go Raptors, baby. Let's go Isaac Campbell, 30th anniversary season of the Toronto Raptors franchise. Let's go.